the first of the 24 national championships that'll be decided here at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course this weekend. Of course, we'll be back next with one of the most exciting and fastest classes. You see them in the pre-grid, Formula Atlantic. They are quick. You're going to like this one.
Guys hate shopping, right? Well, let me tell you, big guys hate it even more. Department stores? In my size? Then I found the king size catalog. It's free. They've got a terrific selection of clothing at great prices. And the best part, every item is designed just for big guys, tall guys, or big and tall guys. It's just a phone call away. Or I can browse their website. Everything I need. Underwear to outerwear. No more tight waists or naked wrists. No more, I'm sorry, we don't have that in your size. And king size offers brand names. The latest styles and colors for every season. Outstanding casual clothes. Sharp-looking work clothes. Even shoes that really fit.
If you're a big or tall guy, call for your free catalog. Or jump on our website. King size. Your size.
Hey, please don't tell my wife, but I kind of like shopping now.
The Lost Drive-In brings you two gracious competitors.
I'm a guys like him make me sick.
With the same goal.
The great Godspeed.
You'll love both endings of Silver Dream Racer this Saturday at 11 p.m. Eastern. Whoa!
It's okay. It's only a Corolla. Move it up!
The 2000 Corolla, now with a VVTi engine. It's more powerful than you think.
What? Today's live coverage of the 1999 SCCA Valvoline Runoffs is being brought to you by Valvoline. You can always tell the guys who use Valvoline. And also by Toyota. Get the most out of your day, every day. The Formula Atlantic starting to make their way out onto the track for their first of 1.5 pace laps. Essentially, let's take you through our starting lineup. On the front row, Larry Connor had a very strong run. He had 3 wins in the Central Division this year in his role. He's your pole sitter. Alongside Brian French, 5 wins, 1 Central Division. One of the fastest drivers in the country. His first run to the runoffs here in a number of years. You also see the rest of the field. One of the drivers to watch, Paul LeCain. And, of course, earlier you met Jamal Yelkin, who really caught the eye of Dan Carmichael and was very impressed with that young driver. Let's take a look at some of the drivers people think are the ones to watch. Now, there he is, Larry Connor. He's the pole sitter. Of course, you'd expect him to be very strong, and he proved it with a very quick lap on Tuesday in qualifying. So we would think he would be at the front. Brian French, the guy, is absolutely dominant in the very tough Central Division. You're going to want to watch him. And here is young Jamal Yelkin, the student. And as we said, Dan Carmichael, who's seen a lot of racing in his 80 years, was awfully fond of this young man. So that is somebody you're going to want to keep an eye on. Now, of course, there's some great stories that unfolds throughout this entire weekend, and we're going to check in again with Biz.
Giuliano Brazil is from Sao Paulo. He has won 2 go-kart championships in Brazil. That's very important. He's won races in Formula Ford and Sport 2000. But Giuliano, here in the United States, you've had 10 Formula Atlantic starts. They've all resulted in the top 4 finishes, but no win.
Yeah, I think it's very important for me, the Runoffs right now, because it's my chance to win a race to prove the other teams I'm a very good driver.
And what do you want for your future career?
Yeah, my plans, I have my plans I'm going to be a world champion, Formula 1 or go-kart, IndyCar.
Well, Giuliano Brazil is looking for a win here at the Runoffs, and he's looking for that to bring a career move.
Well, those ambitions are what this is all about for the young drivers here. And then, of course, you've got somebody, as we mentioned, Dan Carmichael, 80 years of age, a former fighter pilot, a former champion in this division. But he's 80 years old right now, and he's still very, very quick. In fact, in the top 10.
You must get tired of talking about it, but that is absolutely staggering. When I think of people that are 80 years old, I think, you know, just as Paul Newman says, every day over 70, he considers that gravy. And so here's Dan Carmichael out here. He won this championship about 3-4 years ago at age 75, 76. And these cars, G-loading-wise, are the fastest cars at the Runoffs. big G loads. It's hard to overstate how big you can't overstate what he's doing.
Well, no, and last year, I mean, he ended up in the top 5 as well. So, I mean, he's still very competitive. There's another look at number 14, Giuliano Brazil, in the Colleen Toyota Ralt, the RT4. And that's one of the older cars out here, obviously. So, now, of course, this season as well, some of these drivers, Brian French actually ran in the Toyota Atlantic Championship at a couple of stops, and it's one of the top championship series for developing young drivers to get them, for instance, into the ranks of the Indy cars or the Champ cars that run. And a lot of drivers, they'll start running the Atlantics here in club racing, then they'll make the move, put in the Toyota power plant if they're not running one already, go to that championship, and if they get recognized by one of the strong teams there, they could eventually make their way up into the Champ cars and or F1, whatever. That's what you want to do. Let's go back down to pit lane. Sandy?
Well, Larry Connor, who is starting on the pole, has had an up and down kind of season. Actually, it started down. They blew up a motor in the first race of the season, but they've managed to come back, and they say this year has been about a learning curve, and they've captured 3 wins this season, and guys, they'd really like another one here at the Runoffs.
Well, this is the one, obviously. If you get this, you're national champ. And I noticed Brian French on the left side of his helmet. Something is flapping there. That could be terribly distracting. Biz?
These are the tires that right now many people wish they had. It's starting to rain down here. These are full race tires, deep grooves to let the water out from underneath, very soft compound. Right now, starting to rain pretty hard down here, guys. The drama's back on again.
I guess so. Boy, these cars in the wet are something else. The spray coming off these tires. We're going to have to see how this one unfolds. Connor bringing them up mighty slow to that green. French on the outside, then Jamal Yelkin, Christopher Kaiser. There's the go, and French got a definite jump, and the green is out, and Brian French doing what he wanted to do, gets a huge leap, and if he can hang on, he's going to have a huge advantage going into the S's.
Well, nobody's going to contest that. He had a great big lead going in there, and we don't know how slippery it is right now. These have the most downforce of any of the cars that are run here at the Runoff, so they do have a lot of grip, even though the tires are cold.
Chris Kaiser makes a move and slides into third. That should be pushing, I think. That should be John Murphy, a strong run as well. But Brian French absolutely nailed that start and checked out, watching the field cycle through. And you see a lot of different year chassis running in the club racing of Formula Atlantic. And these guys drive them incredibly hard. There's a little bit of battling going on a little bit deeper back in the pack. And this is some strong running. That's number 7, Jamal Yelkin. We're on board with Jamal as he runs through the carousel.
You say there's a lot of different types of cars and so forth. This is extremely expensive racing right here. One of the brand new RT41s like up in the front. We've got a car off the road at 26. That's an older
David
car.
Vandenberg. And that's a very interesting car, Dorsey. You look at it, it's a Ralt RT4, but look what he's done to the driver compartment and the air intakes on the engine. That's been highly modified.
Yeah, that car is an older chassis, like you say. We'll have a replay of what goes on here. He gets in traffic. He's in the carousel. He's in there way too deep on the outside. Surely Marbles out there is going to turn the car for him. See it start to slide. And now they're going to go on the straightaway, which is a left-hand turner coming on, Tommy.
His right front's broken, it looks like.
Yeah, you could just see early in that replay, he just tagged the number 7 machine of Jamal Yelkin, and I think that may have broken one of the
It was so unloaded, he was still able to keep it on the outside. When he went back to go the other way, it just wanted to keep going right.
And I think that has a Mazda motor, if I'm not mistaken, too.
You're absolutely right. A very unique look to that machine. So, at the front right now, French leads it. Larry Connor runs in second right now. And look at the margin French has opened up already. That third-place car is Chris Kaiser. And if that car looks familiar to you, you've been watching the Runoffs on Speed Vision the last few years, that's the car that Steve Forer has driven to the Atlantic Championship on 2 different occasions. Now Chris Kaiser bought it and is running it. That is your second-place car, the pole sitter Larry Connor, who frankly got snookered by Brian French in the start.
Oh, big-time snookered, yeah. He tried for a real slow start, which I was really about to say I was going to question that with it being a little bit slippery. You wouldn't think you'd want to start real down low with the chance of spinning the tires and no aerodynamic downforce, but it didn't work out for him anyway.
Well, that's something to talk about with these cars. Unlike a lot of the other cars here, they're so reliant on the aerodynamics. You really have to, even in the wet, you have to have some speed to get the most out of the grip.
Yeah, you look back there's a battle for fourth going on. That's a good battle going up into the keyhole.
That's Jamal Yelkin, the young man that we met earlier in '90. Paul LeCain, 3 wins. He won the Northeastern Division this year on his machine, and he was very quick here last year as well. And he and Jamal are having a strong battle for 4th right now.
Now, these changing conditions, Jamal's been here all week. He's been running well in practice, but he only has a very few races in his whole career. And so, you get proficient at doing one thing well, which is learn the car, learn the track and the dry. You throw a wrinkle in like light rain. It's almost better if it's raining hard, because you know it here. The conditions change literally by corner.
On board now with Jamal, and watch him work on the wheel. And things don't look too bad right now. There's not a sheen on those tires, no sheen at all. And so looking pretty good, not carrying any lurid slides, not a lot of correction any more than you might expect.
Well, you won't see a lot of slides out of these because they are ground effect cars, and they have a lot of aerodynamic grip, so you don't see them turn sideways. And usually if you do step out, they're stepping out into the pasture.
It's a big step out, but it looks very dry, at least on that section of track. Now, there's behind Jamal once again is Paul LeCain, and he's running in the 5th spot right now in his Avon Tires Valvoline Toyota Ralt. Goes through turn number 1, and a lot of room that some of the drivers given to the curbs out there. Though, as a matter of fact, almost looks like it's lightening up on this section of track in terms of some sun.
Well, you don't want to use these cars on the curbs, because when you do, you open up an air gap underneath the car, and it dumps all the aerodynamic downforce that you were making. So you won't see these guys running up on curbs, not on purpose.
Keep an eye on that battle for 4th, Jamal Yelkin and Paul LeCain. It looks like Jamal's starting to stretch things out just a little bit. You talked about his level of experience, Tommy, and obviously any amount of lap time he gets, you'd expect him to get quicker and quicker.
Yeah, exactly. I think once he settles in, if the conditions stay constant, I think everyone's been raving about his ability, and I think if he can settle in, you'll see him start to work his way towards the front.
Good look there at number 84, Chris Kaiser. And Sandy, he's firmly planted in 4th spot.
He is, and his father is the crew member and the crew chief, Joe Kaiser. What kind of experience does he have driving in rain and then a little bit of sun? Because we're getting both at this very moment in time.
He's got an awful lot of seat time in various kinds of weather. We don't see a problem with the weather today.
Now he's had 2 starts here. Best finish has been 4th. How does he feel coming into this race?
Yes, it has. At the runoffs.
Now you have radio communication with your son. What is he saying?
At this point, he's saying absolutely nothing, which is very good.
Well, Joe Kaiser says that's a good sign that his son is not talking. He's focusing on the race.
Well, that's a very good point, Sandy. If there's not a lot of communication, generally it means the driver's just doing the job, feels okay with the car, and has got his head down and chasing. If he's talking a lot, oftentimes that can mean the car's not working right, and you're trying to figure out what to do, just sort of talking it through with the crew or running it through. But at the front of the field, Brian French, who has been here many times in terms of leading a race, in fact has won national races here at Mid-Ohio, but has never driven the Atlantic car at the runoffs. Decided this year to come and see how he can do, and I'd say he's doing mighty fine. And you know what else this guy does? He has a 1983 Formula One Ferrari that he has run a number of times at Road America in the historic races there. Guy knows how to drive classy machinery, and he right now is out front in the chase for the national championship in Formula Atlantic.
Fox Sports News has learned.
On the scene with the biggest stars.
Is this a great showcase for baseball, Ken?
Up to the minute every night.
Fly ball, deep right field. This baby's over.
Here's Flutie rolling out. Touchdown.
Keith Olbermann, Kevin Frazier, and the primetime team all over the world of sports.
Paris,
Los Angeles,
Houston,
Augusta,
Miami, St. Louis,
New York.
Fox Sports News primetime. Miss it, miss out.
Trust me on this.
Do you have a video of yourself catching the perfect wave, climbing an amazing rock face, or doing anything exciting outside? Then call 877-OLN-ADVENTURE and enter the Outdoor Life Network Adventure Video Contest. You could win the adventure vacation of a lifetime or other great prize packages. Plus, we'll air the top 5 videos on our Adventure Video Special. So, If you want to be on national TV and win some exciting prizes, send us your tape by January 31st, 2000.
Welcome back. That is Paul LeCain, but you see closing in very quickly, number 47, John Murphy in the Taylor Rental Hoosier Tires roll. That is a solid battle for fifth right now. LeCain and Murphy, and Murphy throwing everything he can at chasing down Paul LeCain, but Sandy, Paul has been here before.
Paul has been here before, and he has worked a lot with his dad, who is also Paul LeCain. Your son has been on a tear this season, winning 18 of the last 20 races.
Yes, unfortunately today it's not looking like he's going to win. He's running in 5th place right now. We've had a tough week with the car. It's a new car, and he's only driven it one race before, so we don't feel too bad about it. We'll come back next year. But generally, if we can put a car under him that's capable of winning, he'll win.
What kind of changes did you make this week? That's a nice laugh.
Well, we changed engines, we changed the clutch, we changed springs several times, we changed shocks several times, wings, pretty much everything. We've had the total car apart 3 times.
Well, thanks, Paul. That just goes to show, finding the magic formula here is not as easy as it looks.
Oh, not even close, Sandy. Last year here, he ran the older Swift, the old DB, I think it's the DB4, and he was very quick, but that car to the Ralt, that is a huge change in equipment, and just the adjustment, let alone learning the setup and all that is massive.
Well, the bad news is with all those changes, they still haven't found the right setup, because you watch that car, it's very, very loose. Whenever you see an Atlantic car in these big four-wheel drifts and slides coming off corners, you know that it's not a happy car.
And you also see Paul, who has no fear of using up the road. We watched him last year in the Swift, and he was absolutely flying. He's not getting, it's one thing to avoid the curbs and not get up on them, but he's giving himself 3-4 feet on the exit of a lot of the corners. I think he's not real comfortable with how this car feels, as Dorsey said.
Well, he's not. He pinched the car right there. See how loose the car is on the corner entry up there? That car shouldn't be sliding. Now he's got understeer at the bottom. Very unbalanced car right now.
Now let's go back on board with Jamal Yelkin, who continues to run very impressively. And Jamal at this point is the number 7 entry, is running in 4th spot at this point, and he is doing whatever he can to try and run down Chris Kaiser, who's right in front here. Jamal looking for any opportunity. Kaiser coming through. What? We watch those cars, Dorsey. Why are they skipping and hopping like that over that concrete section?
Well, this is a little bit more bumpy than what you would think it is. That corner at the bottom down there, has got a couple of severe bumps, and these chassis are so stiff that what they do is they actually pull the other side of the unloaded wheel and just go right up in the air because there's no torsional give in the chassis at all.
Big right front lockup heading into the carousel by our leader. You're talking about that. You're unweighted. You're not braking in a straight line there, and so he's not really doing anything wrong, but just a little bit of braking, and that wheel is almost suspended by itself, even though it's only rolled a quarter of an inch. It unweights that inside wheel because everything is so stiff.
Gives you an idea of the fact that Brian French, even with a fairly large lead he's built up, is still hustling that car pretty quick. And by the way, I was corrected. I said a 90 or an 83 Formula One Ferrari that Brian drives. It's a 93 as he gets a little loose right there. It's a car, I think it's one of the last cars that Alain Prost drove in F1, doing a nice job. And Brian French loves to hustle any type of car, Biz.
He does love to hustle, and the man that puts the hustle in his car is Carl Liebeck, the crew chief. Carl, we understand that it wasn't until the last qualifying session that you got the car set up right.
Finally on the top in the last session, and that bode well for what was going to happen now, we think.
What about the fact that Brian had not been at Mid-Ohio for 2 years? That's got to put you behind a little bit.
We were. That's why we came here on Friday, and we've struggled ever since, but everything progressed right to where we wanted to.
Well, that's absolutely true. They found the right setup. He's got a heck of a lead right now, guys.
He's got a great lead right now. And Dorsey, one of the great joys that you used to be able to experience was watching Carl Liebeck drive a Formula Atlantic car in his day.
I was about to say, he wasn't always a crew chief. He was a competitor against me for a long, long time. Carl Liebeck, of course, back in the flat bottom days, had great car control and put on many a good show for the fan.
I had the opportunity to work the kink at Road America as a corner worker a few years ago, and Carl came out in one of the old Ralts for a day and obliterated a field of faster cars, and it was awesome to watch through the kink. He was just throwing it in there and absolutely flat sideways and never lifting. It was a joy. By the way, you're watching Elkin. He's made the pass. He's moved up to third, got around Kaiser. So young Jamal, Tommy, we talked about it. He's getting more comfortable and confident, although it clipped a curb right there. There's a little learning experience.
Yeah, that, Dorsey talked about what it does to the aerodynamics. Also in a slow speed corner where the aero isn't as important, because these things are so stiff, it jacks so much weight to the outside tire, it'll get dead loose in an instant. Now we've got a car in the pits. That's Brazil.
Yeah, number 14, Giuliano Brazil. You met him just a little bit earlier before the race started. They've got that engine cover off and something looking very loose back in there.
Yeah, that's the whole water system that you're looking at right there. That's some of the cooling stuff. Something's broken loose in there, and that's not a good sign at all.
When that starts rattling and moving about in there, if it comes loose, obviously it could wreak havoc on the engine. So the crew is doing everything they can. They also have a little oil sitting there as well to hopefully be able to get this guy back out and running. But it's looking pretty serious at this stage.
On a 19-lap sprint race with these cars, if you pull in the pits, your day's pretty much over.
I'll tell you what, he's got the F1 aspirations. Those are going to have to wait for a little while, but he's got the proper headgear. You've got to have a cool helmet if you're going to F1, and he's got that one dialed.
Cool helmet, cool visor, you got it. Brian French has the ride coming up on some traffic and dispatches them quite nicely. And Brian French put on a great drive. You can see the gap back to Larry Connor in second, but Brian French 10 laps down, 9 to go. Formula Atlantic at Mid-Ohio.
You're born, you die. In between, you work on cars. We should all be so lucky.
Introducing the new full-size Toyota Tundra. With the most stress-resistant frame in its class and over 2,000 pounds of available payload capacity, the Tundra is tough enough to do the work of some of the biggest trucks on Earth. And it's a lot easier to park. Introducing the new four-door Tundra. Have we gone too far, or have others not gone far enough?
Man, what a light! That's good enough to be the pole. Michael, you're not gonna believe this. Not today, Mikey.
Make way for Cyberdale. It is knock knock out of my way. Rabid pack of pit bulls doing the jackhammer waltz. NASCAR 2000 EA Sports. It's in the game.
When he took apart my drill just to see how it worked, he made me mad. When he built his first radio to contact life on other planets, he made me laugh. When he picked electronics as a career, he made me think. And when he graduated from ITT Tech, he made me proud.
For an informative brochure, call ITT Tech at 1-800-942-0099. That's 1-800-942-0099.
Log on to speedvision.com and get the fastest, most up-to-date information in news, events, original programming, and lifestyles of speed.
Welcome back to Mid-Ohio. Despondent Giuliano Brazil down in pit lane. Sandy?
He's still strapped in, unable to talk to us right now. It's obviously a frustrating moment for this young driver, but if you look over, I'll tell you what the problem is. See that jug of water, guys? It's a water hose.
Everything was loose inside and apparently ripped a water hose apart. And again, that's going to make for a quick day. So he's done, but Brian French out front continues to lead now with 7 laps remaining in the Formula Atlantic National Championship race. And this is one of those great stories here as we take a look at our Dodge race reset. As I said, 12 of 19 laps complete. Brian French has led from the get-go, all 11 laps so far. One lead change, and it was Brian's with that great start. And we've got a couple of cars that have been off track. And, of course, Giuliano Brazil now retiring from the event. But Brian French doing an awesome job. And one of the unique things about this is, you race all season. There's 65 national races spread around within the 8 divisions that make up the Sports Car Club of America. You run in your division, you qualify for the runoffs, but it's not like you get best 2 out of 3 or a playoff series. You come here, it's 19 laps, the winner gets the gold, the bronze, and the silver, of course, and the rest they look for next year. I mean,
it's basically winner take all. All the other stuff is geared towards, granted, there's individual race wins that you can look back on, but this is what it's all about. Everybody, the minute this day is over, they're already looking forward till next year. And actually, I think we might have things closing up a little bit. You have Larry Connor in second. It looks like he's closing up a little, and Jamal Yelkin may be closing up. There's only 6 laps left, but if Connor can string some laps together, see, he's in the frame.
Yeah, he's definitely closed it up, and as you said, with 6 laps to go as they come by start-finish, well, we've seen, I mean, one quick mistake by Brian French, a half spin or a big long slide, and that gap can disappear in a hurry. And so Larry Connor obviously has his head down and is seriously getting to work here.
Now, the last time off the carousel, Brian French pushed wide on this concrete like that, and he's really struggling to keep it on the exit. That hurts his exit speed. Ideally, you want to stay tight to the inside curb until a little bit further beyond there, and then when you get to full throttle, you can keep it wide open and not have to dial it back on the exit. So he might be fighting a push, severe push there.
Yeah, Connor's definitely close.
I'm surprised he hasn't tried a more inside approach to that, trying to get the right side wheels inside that concrete patch, Tommy, because both of those laps, you're right, he gets about 3/4 of the way down. There's another push over the top of the hill right there. So, you know, you think he'd change his line a little bit, try to get more grip.
There's nothing you can do about the left side tires being on the concrete, but the right side you can keep hooked inside. Sandy, you got something for us?
Well, right now I'm standing with Lee Hagan, who is grabbing a time from Larry Connor. And as I told you early on that he blew a motor the first race of the season, you've had a learning curve going on. I know you were debating today which setup to go with. What did you finally go with and why?
Well, it started to rain early on, but it dried out really quick for us. We were panicking a bit. Hold on one second. We were panicking.
Oh, tell us what that time is that you just grabbed for Larry.
Still a 23.3. He must have got held up in traffic. There's some back markers there. But it was looking pretty bad for a bit. Fortunately, it dried out. We're okay. We had a lot of changes to make, and we fortunately didn't have to make them. So it turned out good. And things are looking good now.
Guys, that's Lee Hagan. He's crew chiefing for Larry Connor.
Well, let's put that in perspective. The pole was a 120.7. He ran a 23.3 in traffic. He's flying.
Yeah. You saw he got out on the concrete a little bit, but a little bit tighter line. And again, what I was starting to say is you can't do anything about the inside tires, but the outside ones, the longer you can hold it tight, once both side tires get on that concrete, it just takes off to the outside.
Giuliano Brazil is out of the car, and he's with Biz.
Well, actually, he's still in the car because he's too emotional to get out. Giuliano, you had very high hopes for this race. What are your feelings now?
I'm feeling so bad. We tried so much to get the time, but they just didn't happen.
Obrigado. I'll tell you, these races mean so much. He wanted this to be a career-proving race for the people who knows what it takes to do well here, and a water hose took it all away from him.
Well, John, you can literally see what this race can mean to some young drivers. Look at that, a tear building up. That is a tough way to end a race that you were resting so much on, and that's a national championship, and obviously a tough day for young Giuliano Brazil, but a character-building day, and obviously at some point he is going to be back in the thick of things.
And the lead battle continued to tighten up. Larry Connor is stringing some laps together. He got held up a little in traffic, which halted his advance, but he's dialing back in, and they're both fighting the cars, but he's definitely making ground.
I think he listened to us, too, because that time you saw he put his right side wheels all the way up to the curb and kept it, and it gave him a good hook shot out there. He got a good exit, so he's listening.
He's listening, and he is coming on strong, definitely starting to close in on your leader, Brian French. He is feeling the heat from the quickly pursuing Larry Connor. We'll be back for the last 5 laps in Formula Atlantic.
Guys hate shopping, right? Well, let me tell you, big guys hate it even more. Department stores? In my size? Then I found the king size catalog. It's free. They've got a terrific selection of clothing at great prices. And the best part, every item is designed just for big guys, tall guys, or big and tall guys. It's just a phone call away. Or I can browse their website. Everything I need. Underwear to outerwear. No more tight waists or naked wrists. No more, I'm sorry, we don't have that in your size. And king size offers brand names. The latest styles and colors for every season. Outstanding casual clothes. sharp-looking work clothes, even shoes that really fit.
If you're a big or tall guy, call for your free catalog or jump on our website. King size. Your size.
Hey, please don't tell my wife, but I kind of like shopping now.
This month on Speed Vision, it's live Formula One from Malaysia and Japan, NHRA drag racing from Kansas, the Speed Vision GT and Touring Car Championships from Pikes Peak, the SCCA Runoffs from Mid-Ohio, the U.S. Open of Supercross, live NASCAR qualifying, and Bo Bridge is starring in Silver Dream Racer.
That's Speed Vision, and you got it. So turn on Speed Vision before the 99cc passes you by.
Want the lowdown on Dodge Durango? Here's where its best-in-class Magnum V8 power lives. It's longer and wider down here for best-in-class room up there. And say hello to best-in-class available towing. Want the best? Get a Durango. Me? I want one of these. Dodge Durango. Different.
Speed Vision's live coverage of the SCCA Valvoline Runoffs is being brought to you by Valvoline. You can always tell the guys who use Valvoline. And by Dodge. Do not follow. Do not conform. Be different. The new Dodge. On board with Jamal Yelkin. He is 3 spots behind this guy, Brian French, who is your leader at this stage. We have 2 laps to go. And you can see there's French in that multicolored car. The white and green machine is Connor. That's the gap between first and second with 2 laps to go. And Connor doing everything he can to try and close in. French very loose up and over the top of the S's. That didn't seem to hurt him too much, but I think he's starting to feel the heat, obviously.
He put his head down and was actually able to pull out a little bit from the lap before. But you can see how he's doing. He's taking some more chances. Now's the time. You got 2 laps to go. You don't want to leave anything on the table.
Brian French pushing as hard as he can now, apparently, to try and build a little bit more of a cushion over Larry Connor. Jamal Yelkin runs in 3rd. Then it's Kaiser in 4th. LeCain round out the top 5. And here comes French through the carousel. Turn 15, the left-hander up onto the front straight. And let's see, we should see the white flag. Last to go, and there is Carl Liebig informing his driver thusly. And although he has ruled Formula Atlantic in the Central Division, he's won the June sprints. I don't know how many times in this category. He's finally come here to Mid-Ohio. Looks like he's going to add the big one.
Well, this makes you kind of nervous. He's going there on the last lap, or what we think is the last lap, and there is lap traffic right up there in front of him. You see he's going to catch. He doesn't want to be held up with that, particularly when he gets off this straightaway into the twisty bits.
Down that long back chute, it is indeed the final lap, and he makes that quick little bend through what they call turn 5 here and heads toward the S's for one last time. And we watched him up and over the top of the S's, and he has in fact stretched it back out again over Connor. Maybe he was leaving something for reserve, keeping those tires alive.
Well, it could have been Carl Liebig also.
That's true.
Getting on the horn and saying, hey, your speed is off. You need to catch up a little bit.
There's Connor disappearing in his pursuit, trying to run down 45, and there's that lap traffic up front. That's Dan Carmichael, the wonderful 80-year-old driver in Formula Atlantic. There is Liebig, pacing, a little bit nervous here, watching. Dan Carmichael comes through, is not going to hold him up too bad, moves over, lets him swing by, and there it is. And Brian French, his first visit to the Runoffs, and he takes the championship. Connor looks good for second, and there is a very happy crew. Carl Liebig has engineered another winner, and he did it at the most important SCCA club event that is in existence. That is the Runoffs. And let's go down to John Bizignano with Carl.
Carl, what a great drive. What a great setup on the car. Congratulations.
Everybody came together at the right time. Brian did a great job. Cool under pressure. Terrific job by the whole team.
Dorsey Schrader remembers when he was knocking wheels with you. He said it was always your fault. Is that true?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that sounds like Dorsey. Yes. Say hi to him for me.
Okay, congratulations again, Nate.
Appreciate it.
Indeed, congratulations not just to Brian and Carl, but the whole crew. As Carl said, it all has to come together at the right time. No changes other than the one for the lead, and then it was all Brian French, no cautions, and he put on a great show. And of course, when we come back, we will be visiting with Brian and the rest of the top 3.
Kick off your your college football Saturday with Fox Sports Net. Big games.
Touchdown, UCLA!
Big hits.
Oh, my goodness, what a hit!
Big-time coverage.
Into the end zone. Touchdown!
Hosts Kevin Frazier and Kellen Winslow cover all your gridiron action all day long.
Unbelievable catch!
With pregame previews, up-to-the-minute scores and highlights, plus postgame wrap-ups.
It's gonna be sweet.
College Football Saturday. This Saturday only on Fox Sports Net.
This is Laura Patterson. She's saving a bundle on long-distance calls to Grandma using MCI 5 cents every day.
When Laura was born, I counted on Mom to talk me through everything. She'd call 2-3 times a day. How do I do this? How do I do that? Mom was always calling me. It was like we rediscovered each other. Then we got the phone bills. No college tuition for you. Now we use MCI 5 cents every day. It's brand new. Calls are just 5 cents a minute every evening and 5 cents a minute all weekend long. That's half the price of AT&T. And that's good. And you can get daytime calls the rest of the week for just 10 cents a minute. Now we can call each other any day of the week without worrying about the cost. Whether it's just to shoot the breeze or for the really important stuff. It's Grandma. Hi there.
MCI 5 cents every day. To sign up, call 1-800-456-1559.
Say hi, Grandma.
Ask about our great international rates, too.
Speed Vision takes you inside the MGM Grand Hotel in Vegas for the AMA US Open of Supercross. The best motocross riders in the world are looking to hit pay dirt. The AMA US Open of Supercross tomorrow night at 1 Eastern.
Sheboygan, Wisconsin's Brian French takes the checkered flag in this beautiful multicolored vault, and that gives him the national championship. Here's another look at it as he comes through that last turn, and there is no view like that one as you come out and realize that that checkered flag is for you. You're the first to see it. You are a national champion. And the crew, boy, they appreciate it big time as well. And they certainly have in this case, as Brian French has earned Carl Liebig and the gang a national championship. There is Brian on the lap of honor, carrying the checkered flag around the track. Our unofficial results, French wins it over Connor. Great run by young Jamal Yelkin. Chris Kaiser held on for fourth. Paula Kane fifth. Murphy, Dan Carmichael, what a great story. Capos, Tollefson, and Kenny Swede end up rounding out our top 10. And Dan Carmichael, the great story there, as he at 80 years old has completed another SCCA runoffs and ends up in the top 10. But Brian French looks awfully strong all week, and he pulls it off in a great race here. Let's go down to our third place driver. He's with Biz.
Jamal Yelkin, congratulations on a great third-place finish, but you said that you lost some confidence out there. What was wrong?
It wasn't as I lost confidence myself. The track, there was oil in one spot that was pretty bad, but the Everclear vault ran great. I mean, the team they put me with the best car out there, I believe, and it was just a matter of time till I caught him. But it was beautiful out there. I mean, it was a lot for me, and it was a new experience, but hey, everybody has to experience something new in life, right?
Well, that's what this whole racing weekend's about, guys. Some good experience and a little bit of bad. Congratulations on a great third place. Sandy.
Well, I am with Larry Connor, the lucky four-leaf clover. Sure worked for Larry today. Some great moments out there.
It was really good. Brian got us at the start, and we worked real hard, and we caught up to him about mid-race, and then I thought we might have something for him at the end. The tires started going away. We started picking up a push the last half a dozen laps. And, my hat off to, Brian. I mean, we gave it an all. Advanced Racecraft team gave me an awesome car all week. Lee Hagan did just an outstanding job. The Hoosier tires were great. It was really a good week for us overall.
And I know when you were coming back in, you've already been thinking about making changes next year. Why don't you tell everyone what you and Lee Hagan were talking about?
Well, what we're talking about is we might go to the carbureted engine from the fuel injected, and clearly we thought the fuel injected might be better here, but probably do the carburation. This is really new for us. We've only been in this car for 6 races. We've never driven these cars before. He's never run them before. I've been out of racing for 3 or 4 years, and so we had a ball this year, and we'll be back next year.
Oh, not bad for Larry Connor, starting the season blowing a motor and coming in second at the runoffs. Not bad, guys.
Not bad at all. Great run for Connor. There is your winner, Brian French, in a great drive. And for young Jamal Yelka, they're going to have to put the sponsor sticker on the back of the hat. But that'll all come good. We'll be right back.
And Blanchard's car is handling great as he takes the lead. Incredible.
The right chassis parts make any car feel high performance. So choose Moog, driving NASCAR champions to victory. Moog chassis parts, another great part of Federal Mogul.
Speed Vision? It's the guys who put it all on the line. Guys like Andy Green, who can't go fast enough, and Alan Shepard, who did all of his best driving on the moon. Think of Don Aronow catching air. Kenny Roberts grinding the toe off his boot. And those guys with the right stuff? But you get the point. So turn on Speed Vision. Where men are men, and insurance agents are nervous.
Welcome back once again, and here's another look at that crew, and you can see how much it means not just to the driver but to everybody involved in the program. They have worked very hard at that. Look at the eyes of Brian French. I'm not sure he even quite believes it. He is a national champion. He's going to love that. And there he is on that lap of honor. And guess what? He's with John Bizignano. Biz?
He is with me. And Brian French, you were telling me that it's been since 1995 since you've been back to this track. And my gosh, you must have remembered it well. Congratulations on your first championship.
Thank you.
Tell us about the race.
Well, it was raining a little bit on and off, but the car was beautiful. Tire looks good. We ran a 25 front corner in the front left, and it was just perfect.
We heard from Carl that the setup was not right all weekend long, but you dialed it in right towards the last qualifying.
That's true. We struggled all week, and I would say this morning was the best car we had all week. It was just perfect.
Where did you have the advantage on your competitors?
Well, first of all, the start. The start was very, very early, so I got a good jump on the start. Neither of us expected to start that early, I don't think, and that was really the whole race, the first couple laps.
Well, sometimes that happens, guys. Congratulations on your championship.
He's earned it. He has worked with Carl for a long time to be able to get this program running. He covers all his bases, and when it comes time for him to crawl behind the wheel, the guy is absolutely untouchable, as most competitors in Central Division will tell you. When you're chasing somebody, it's usually Brian French. We'll be back for more from the Runoffs right after this.
Given two hearts. One beats within me. The other, a merciless piece of metal and fire that lurks beneath the hood. Which should I follow? Ivan Iron Man Stewart, Overlord of Baja.
Everybody take your seats. Okay, class, let's try some basic phrases. Repeat after me. Katrina, does this bus go downtown? Okay, maybe not. Phil, how many stops to Wall Street?
The stock market!
I'm praying for a rally, you know.
What is the story with cyclicals?
Cyclicals, schmicklicals.
Cyclical, schmicklical.
On Ameritrade.
You trade with Ameritrade?
I tried with Ameritrade.
I live for Ameritrade.
Okay, class, what is this Ameritrade?
You trade stocks on your computer. One trade, $8.
Log on Ameritrade.
So how do I pick a stock?
You do the research.
It's free.
Free?
It means no charge. Pro bono.
Ameritrade is a great and wonderful thing.
And they said capitalism would never work.
Call toll-free 1-800-728-8603. Ameritrade. Believe in yourself.
Hi, I'm Alan Bestwick. Please join me, Ken Schrader, Michael Waltrip, and Johnny Benson as we take an in-depth look at the previous weekend's races. It all happens every Monday night. Join us.
Coverage of the SCCA Valvoline Runoffs is being brought to you by Valvoline. You can always tell the guys who use Valvoline. It's also being brought to you by Toyota. Get the most out of your day, every day. Toyota. Let's head down to pit lane with Sandy, and she's with the Dean of Formula Atlantic.
Well, it just goes to show you, racing is ageless. What a race for you today. What were you thinking out there? And you just beat the rain, too.
Yes, we did. I didn't really think of anything. I made a terrible start that was 90% my fault, and I've made a bad start the last 3 years in a row here, so I'm accustomed to it. But once you get going, you just do the best you can and try to make something out of it.
Do the best you can, and you just stay out there and all of it. You know, I had a hard time convincing you to come out and do this interview. You were insistent I wasn't fast. I don't want to talk. But is that the point about racing? It's always to win, but isn't it also to have fun?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's to have fun, but first to go fast. First to go fast.
And can we look forward to seeing you here again next year?
Well, I hope so. I haven't made up my mind yet what I'm going to do, but I don't know. I just kind of go month by month and see what happens.
But I think your eyes are still dancing. I'd say that's a good possibility, guys.
Well, it certainly wouldn't be the same if Dan Carmichael wasn't here. He is not just a great driver, but just a great person. Give me a little idea of this guy's history. In 1964, he reached the age limit for flying Navy jet fighters off carriers. So he moved into other types of flying and decided to start racing an F-production Alpine. And he's been racing ever since and does an absolutely phenomenal job. Now, we talked about the fact that we've got a lot of races here, and there's a few each morning that we just can't bring to you live. One of them was F500. And it, as usual, produced some fireworks. We're going to take a look back at how that unfolded. The second race to take to the track this morning, Dorsey, was one of the more really fun and exciting classes and unique in SECA Club racing.
Formula 500 is extremely competitive. Little two-cycle cars with automatics, and they run real close together, real competitive. These guys really put on a good show.
Very, very competitive racing indeed. They all run essentially the identical engine. It's all in the chassis and some of the body work, and a lot of different looks to some of the cars. Let's go to the start. Aaron Ellis, your pole sitter, the orange machine. Alongside him is Mike Brent, but it's the two cars behind, Auberger and Edwards. Auberger's second in Central Division. He makes the move to the inside there, but look at his teammate, Fred Edwards, who won send him. Around the outside, everybody but Dorsey, just a little too hot.
Big speed there. Can't hold it. Goes off in the grass. Watch here. Big wreck coming. No. He squeaks in, but look at this back up.
Oh, he bottled everybody up behind him, and that allowed the lead group to break free just a little bit. And that included Auberger, who did hold on to the lead, and Mike Brent also got around Aaron Ellis and was able to draw away just a little bit. Here's Edwards and the rest of the pack that he sort of bottled up behind him. But up front, Auberger, Brent right there, and the rest of the pack started to fade back. And here comes Auberger working some traffic. Sweet, sweet moment for him. He led most of the race last year and threw a belt, and it cost him the win. Not this time, and he gets a big checkered flag, and the enthusiasm is obvious. He is pumping his fist, and also it's very enthusiastic from the crew. It's a three-car team, and Auberger did an awesome job. Mike Brent to second. Dave Mitch ran to third. Elevin Goulart fourth, and Ron Vincey in fifth. And, of course, when the race is done, he was met by John Bizignano.
Jeff, last year you were able to lead the first 11 laps and then a disappointing DNF with that belt coming off. This time you brought it home to the checkered flag.
That's a fact. We were due for it. We wanted it last year bad and did everything we needed to, and unfortunately that belt failure took us out of it. But this year we knew we were coming to do it, and we did it.
Congratulations on a great win.
Thanks so very much. Thank you to Goodyear. They are number one in Formula 500. Woo!
Sprint Business Flex is helping small businesses stay on top of it all. Call 1-800-322-3090 and find out how. Michelle Lemons did. She coordinates over 15,000 speakers a year. She can choose and change services as she needs. Long distance and international calling, paging for instant access.
Okay, let's go to plan B.
Call now to build a plan for your business. Toll-free service, internet access, and we'll help set you up with the clarity of Sprint PCS. But it's not just about how Sprint Business Flex helps you stay on top of it all.
Ladies and gentlemen, Peekaboo's free.
It's about doing it your way.
Michelle, this is really great. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Isn't that the point of contact? Call now to see how Sprint Business Flex can help you stay on top of it all. Call 1-800-322-3090 now.
Speed Vision presents the SCCA Valvoline Runoffs. 3 days of the best amateurs driving some of the fastest machines ever to pound the pavement. The SCCA Valvoline Runoffs tomorrow at 1:30 p.m. Eastern.
All I do is dream of you the whole night through. With the dawn I still go on and dream of you. You're every thought, you're everything, you're every song I ever sing.
For those who must design trucks to compete with Dodge Ram, there is no rest.
All I do is dream of you.
Welcome back, and as you can see, we're starting to see some raindrops on the lenses once again. The weather coming back in terms of a little bit of dampness. Those motorhomes will be looking mighty cozy if that unfolds. So that could become a factor in our next couple of races. You can see the corner workers starting to gear up a little bit for the weather as well. Let's go back down to pit lane and Sandy.
Well, it's not just gearing up, it's saving energy. Look who I caught, Jay Lutz. He's crewing for Terry Gillis in the GT2 race. Taking a little nap here, trying to stay fresh. It's a long day.
Well, that's very true. I mean, we've got 8 races being decided each day. We're bringing the last 5 of each day to you live. And, Dorsey, you've been to, what, 13 of these? You know about saving energy.
Actually, I've raced in 13. I've been to 26. And Jay Lutz and I used to race H Production. I don't know if he had any longer races, but he was next driver as well.
And, again, he's relaxing. Next up is going to be GT2. They're on the pre-grid. Biz.
Well, they are on the pre-grid, and I just went through the entire field, and they are all on slick tires, no grooves whatsoever. Right now, I think it's the most serious storm coming through here that we've had, blowing through about 3 of them now. There's actually some lightning in the distance. If that comes this way, they might have to red flag this and let everyone change the tires. They cannot be out there with any type of water depth whatsoever on these tires. Right now, they're on the dry setup, guys.
Well, you take a look at the 2 cars there. You see the Nissan right there in front. Look behind that. That's that Sunbeam Tiger with a big Ford V8. I wouldn't want to drive that in the rain on slicks.
I would think not. There's a good look at the cloud ceiling that we're dealing with, and it's darker than we have seen as the GT2 field now makes its way off the pre-grid to start their parade laps. Let's take a look at the starting lineup. Jim Goffrey, winner, defending champion in this class on pole. Tom Patton, who was the pole sitter last year and ended up second, qualified second. Then Blakewell and Davis. Remember Dwayne Davis? He couldn't even get off the starting grid last year. He is qualified in 4th and looking for a very strong run. We have a couple of the female competitors here this weekend are in the field. Monica Colvin will be in the number 51 Mazda, and number 7 is April Jackson, the Nissan. Nice to have them with us as well. Now let's take a look at the people that are generally thought to be the contenders here. There he is, the gentleman who is the defending champion, Jim Goffrey. That's Jim Goffrey Sr., of course, in the Nissan. Another one that we're going to be watching is Tom Patton, as Dorsey just alluded to, driving that convertible, the big V8-powered Sunbeam Tiger. He led a lot of it last year till he had a quick spin, and that dropped him out of the win. And the guy who had problems on the grid but is always fast here, Dwayne Davis. He's the active driver with more national championships than anybody else. In fact, he's second all-time to the long-since-retired Jerry Hansen. So Dwayne Davis is going to be a factor here. And we talked about those Sunbeam Tigers, and those cars are very, very fast. A little bit earlier, Tommy Kendall checked in with the drivers of both of those cars.
In GT2, another twist on the age-old story of master and protege. Barry Schoenberger has helped crew on Tom Patton's car off and on for the last 15 years. In his first year as a driver on the Nationals, what has he taught you?
Well, he's been a mentor for a number of years. He's shown me what not to do, but he still hasn't shown me all the right things.
Taught you everything you know, but not everything he knows. Tom, I imagine this year the one thing you want to show him is what it takes to win at the runoffs. What's it going to take?
I wish I knew that myself, Tom, but I think it just takes a consistent car, keeping out in front, making those guys make the mistakes behind me, and coming across that finish line first.
Doesn't want to give all his secrets away, but I think he has one up his sleeve for this weekend.
Well, the great drivers always bank something away. You know, one of the interesting things is, as competitive as Patton is, it becomes all the more impressive, I think, in that that's not a tube frame built from the ground up race car. That's a modified production car, and it flies.
When they're talking tub, they don't mean monocoque. They mean old original unibody, which is really amazing. And they have kind of a cult following, these Tigers. They were quoting where everyone in existence is, race car wise and so forth. It's really kind of neat.
And you know, one of the things about these cars is, and Dorsey, we've seen it the last few years, the longer the race goes, the harder the unibody cars are in tires vis-a-vis the tube frame cars, which you can adjust and set up a little bit better.
Yeah, you don't have the flexibility. Of course, that Sunbeam Tiger has a big V8 in it, and it's going to be very rough on the rear tires, no question about that. And it was a street car. This is the way the race cars used to be built a long time ago. You put a roll cage in, some safety features, make some modifications, but you didn't start with a clean piece of paper like these tube frame cars do.
We're on the pace lap again, and let's check in with John Bizignano, some more information on Tom Patton.
Well, Greg, you were the one who told us earlier about his spin last year. I talked to him. He said, I have been having nightmares for 12 months about that spin. No matter how much success I've had through this season, I can't get it out of my mind. I have got to finish first to make up for that mistake last year.
We told you how important this event is. I mean, you live with that. This isn't, I mean, as important as a regional win or a national is, this is the runoffs, and you make a mistake like that, it stays with you. There's Schoenberger in the other Sunbeam Tiger, and Dorsey, we watched that spin last year, and it was tough.
You know, looking over this grid, I look at the different cars and think, which one would I want to drive if it gets wet? That purple car, the 914 right there, Porsche, rear engine, that's the car I'd want to drive if it gets real wet in this field.
And he's been relatively quick and competitive as well. Here comes Pat now. The field, as we said, they work through the chicane now, go through the keyhole. They get the start on that long backstretch. Gives the field a little bit more time to sort of settle in. Somebody else we have to also watch, and that is Blakewell, who you were talking about. There's a couple of those 914s racing out there. Chick Mishira is in one as well, but Blakewell has been very competitive. 3 wins in the Midwestern division this year.
Well, Patton right there, it would behoove him to really try to slow this start down with that V8. He'd really like to try and bottleneck everything up, but he's not the pole sitter, so he doesn't get to do that. Goffrey, on the other hand, he'll want a quicker start for sure because he doesn't want that V8 trouncing on him into one.
Well, they're heading down toward the starter stand. That car on the outside of the second row. There's Don Preston, and you know who he's worried about. 01 Dwayne Davis, the car I was just about to talk to on the second car outside on the right side of your screen right now. We're green. It's Patton. Boy, did he get the jump, and Davis jumps from 4th to 2nd. Goffrey might even lose 3rd to Blakewell. No, Goffrey hangs on to 3rd. Blakewell is getting pressured for 4th, but a great start by Dwayne Davis, who has already improved where he finished last year when that starter failed him on the grid, and he is now tucked right in behind Patton. Then it is Goffrey and Blakewell and the rest of the field streaming through. Good-looking field, a lot of variety out there as well. And I would think what Patton has to do is build as much advantage as he can, and just in case, one, there is rain, or two, he does start to overheat those tires. He wants to have some sort of margin in front.
Well, remember the past couple of years in runoffs, this is exactly what happens all the time with the Sunbeam Tiger. Patton's very strong at the beginning with the tires cold like it is. He's going to be strong, but the longer he runs green, the more susceptible the rear gets.
Well, but just you've been in this situation before. You can be behind the guy who's a lot faster or slower, but if he's faster down the straightaway, this could shape up to be a really interesting battle, because all you need to do is just not make any mistakes. Even if your tires are shot, if you're in front and you're getting that thing pointed and pull the trigger down the straightaway, it's hard for anyone who's not as fast down the chute, no matter how much faster they are around the circuit.
Speaking of pulling the trigger, look at the lead he's got in just not even quite one lap right now.
Patton is just checking out Davis in second. Oh, number 71, Gus Rosenberg in the Datsun Translog Porsche Boxster. And he's got into some, isn't he?
Yeah, he's not the only one there. There's body pieces laying out there in the field that don't belong to him. So there's another car somewhere.
And here's the battle for second. That's 01 Dwayne Davis in the Valvoline Toyota, and pushing him hard as the defending champion in this class. Here comes Goffrey in the Nissan. Not enough, but look at the bonsai move coming up big time. Was 87 Bill Reed in the Valvoline Toyota-sponsored Toyota Celica, and he has, I think he's just gone around Blakewell. Yeah, he has, and taken away that 4th spot, so Blakewell's now 5th.
Well, he brought it in there deep, and I really thought he was going to have trouble getting it stopped, and was worried about getting in the back of the guys in front of him.
Now, I would think, Tommy, this is exactly what Patton would like to see when he looks in his mirrors, is the guys behind him starting to duke it out a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. And Goffrey, I wasn't sure if he had a problem on the start, because he went from 1st to all the way back to 4th on the start. and I wasn't sure if he just mistimed it or if he had a problem. It looks like the car's running well. Now he's got to, that hard-earned pole is long gone.
You know, you almost wonder in that type of a situation if maybe he missed a shift on the start, and that just parks the car for an instant.
Yeah, it's hard to say, but the good news is it's not a mechanical problem. It's a one-time thing. You might be a little hacked at yourself, but at least the car's in good shape, and he was on the pole. If he can just put his head down and click off some laps. Davis doesn't look particularly strong. You know, obviously that car is going to be easier on tires than the Tiger, but he's not exactly running away from these other guys.
The guy who looks very impressive right now is Bill Reed in that all-white number 87 machine. He looks very, very fast. He has reeled in Goffrey and Davis in very short order after rather easily dispatching with Jim Blakewell. And although he's lost a little bit here, he is still starting to close up and make this a three-car battle for second. Oh, number 88, lots of smoke from Marvin Epps in the Turning Point Racing and California Stage Design Porsche 968. And looks more like steam than smoke, doesn't it?
Well, that's probably an erupted engine, and it probably broke into the cylinder head and got the exhaust system full of water. But it's the end of the day for that car. You have to wonder now how much of that debris ends up on the racetrack. That's your answer right there. It gets it off pretty quickly, and that's good because it's spewing all kind of nasty bodily fluids around.
Yeah, nice piece of heads-up driving by Marvin Epps, who, of course, wanted to park the car as fast as he could, get out just in case. Oh, problems there for number 34, Lee Feinagel in the F&R Imports Datsun 280Z. Lee runs a number of classes in SCCA racing as well, and it looks like he is done today.
Corner worker calling for a flat toe, so he's pulled that car off. I saw him back it into position there. That's the signal right there for a flat toe, which means the car's rollable, but not under its own power.
You think the other corner workers are Minnesota Viking fans?
Well, I've been watching those guys. They make me a little nervous.
They do have fun. It is their national championship too. That's one of the very neat things is the workers for this event come from all across the country. There's over 600 workers from a remarkable number of states and regions that come in, and this is their big event as well. And boy, they travel a long way. They don't get paid a thing. They pay their own lodging and travel costs. They get a lunch during the day and a party in the evening, which of course are legend, of course. But nonetheless, the workers here are as much a part of this as the drivers and the crews.
Let me tell you how serious these guys take this. Dwayne Davis has won multiple national championships. A lot of times on this racetrack right here, he actually went out and support and tried to look for guys to help him with his driving at this racetrack, and ended up, I believe, going through the Mid-Ohio Driving School to try to tune himself up for this race.
Oh, it's huge, and you tend to you see a lot of these drivers go out to, because there are some corner workers who do a little driving, and a driver will go find them and say, you know, anything you can think of that'll help me through here. It is remarkable, the camaraderie in the Sports Car Club of America. This is the big one.
They call a lot of people legends these days. But there's one artist who everyone agrees on. Eric Clapton. Now you can get his greatest hits on Chronicles, the best of Eric Clapton. You'll get the biggest hits from the man who's won 13 Grammy Awards. He's done what few artists have done, and he's touched everyone. And as a bonus, this collection features 2 new songs never before released on a Clapton album. Get Clapton's Chronicles and get the best. To order, call the number on your screen or log on to our website. Rush delivery available. Do it now.
Speed Vision takes you inside the MGM Grand Hotel in Vegas for the AMA US Open of Supercross. The best motocross riders in the world are looking to hit pay dirt. The AMA US Open of Supercross tomorrow night at 1 Eastern.
Man, what a light! That's good enough to be the pole. Michael, you're not gonna believe this. Not today, Mikey.
Make way for Cyberdale. It is knock knock out of my way. Rabid pack of pit bulls doing the jackhammer waltz. NASCAR 2000 EA Sports. It's in the game.
We are back for the GT2 championship race at the SCCA Valvoline Runoffs. After 4 of 19 laps, there is your top 10. Patton, Davis, Goffrey, Reed, and Blakewell. And Patton is just starting to check out a little bit here. Davis and the group behind, Goffrey, Reed, and Blakewell, having a great scrap for second. between those 4 cars, but Tom Patton is absolutely flying out there, and unlike we've seen in past years, the car has not seemed to be sliding around very much. He really seems to be having it under control. Let's take a look at our Dodge race reset. At this point, 4 of 19 done. Patton has led them all. The lead changed only at the start. We've had 3 cars off course. A couple of them are permanent, and there is one of them that has come to a stop. That's Terry Gillis out of Avon Lake, Ohio, in the Race Transport Redline Oil Nissan. And boy, that's just past pit in, isn't it?
Yeah, that's made contact probably with the concrete wall there. It is a kind of a bad place. That's coming onto pit straightaway, and you come out of a little right-hander before you turn left there. So the car's very, very loose right in that area.
Loose indeed. Here's the battle. Look at Blakewell taking a run at Goffrey, as Goffrey has lost 3rd spot to Reed. So Reed got by Goffrey, and Blakewell was thinking about displacing him from 4th. Didn't happen there. But again, very impressive run by Bill Reed. Started 5th, and he will now move up into the 3rd spot in his Toyota, having a very strong run, and he is now chasing Dwayne Davis.
Now, we talked about this being amateur and not being heavy sponsorship. The 2 biggest manufacturer presidents are Nissan and Toyota. They have big hospitality tents, hosting all the drivers, gives them support in the way of parts and support. So this is for big bragging rights. Nissan has won more national championships at the Runoffs. I believe it's 77, way more than the next closest. But Toyota's kind of come on the scene a little bit later and has really poured some effort behind, like the efforts of Davis.
Yeah, they have. In fact, Toyota has been incredibly impressive as of late. And one of the reasons, Sandy, is the driver of the 01 car, Dwayne Davis, although he just got passed by Bill Reed going through turn 1. Let's see if he's going to counter pass. He can't. Here comes Goffrey thinking about it into the chicane. No. So Bill Reed now has gone around Dwayne Davis, Andy.
Yes, he has. And look who is pacing around on pit road. It's Don Preston, who is the engine builder, car builder extraordinaire. That was some move we just saw.
Yeah, that was one of our guys against the other. But it's fine. We don't care where they finish as long as they finish 1-2.
Now, why is it you're such a nervous Nelly walking pit road?
I just get real nervous about waiting to see him come around the next time, every time.
And they put on a show like this, it's fun to see him right on the front stretch.
I hope so. I hope it's fun for everyone.
I got to tell you, I'm not sure he really is having much fun out there, but he is awfully intrigued and one of the nicest guys, and the guy can build a motor in a car.
You know, you look at all these GT classes, GT2, 3, 4, 5. He's built, I bet you, a better part of half of all those fields combined. That's the man that built them all. He's been around forever, a great guy. And, of course, his alliance now is Toyota, so he wants to see the Toyotas. But he's built a lot of potent Nissans over his day.
He's just built a lot of great cars, period. And if he's that gut-wrenched over every one of them, I can understand why how that cigar is really lit and chewed in half. And he really does a lot of pacing down there as well. But now Goffrey has closed in on Dwayne Davis, and this battle continues to be absolutely brilliant. There's Don. Well, that's as still as you're ever going to see Don Preston when one of his cars is out there.
That's a super battle for a second. But this man, I tell you what, he's involved with 2 of those. He said 2 of our guys, he's talking about the Toyotas. I don't know if he built both those cars, but he says he doesn't care which one of them wins as long as one of them does. But they got a long way to go to catch up Mr. Patton.
I'll tell you what, Goffrey and Blakewell are not just going to let them go either. Those 2 now in 4th and 5th. I mean, the proverbial blanket covers them. And the guy that Preston was standing next to, Don Preston was next to, is Pete Peterson, who's going to be wrenching his gut in GT3. He drives one of his cars. There he is, chatting with Pete, who's probably trying to give him a little bit of perspective from the driver, saying, it's okay, relax, relax. And here we go. And it looks like Davis has got a bit of a run on Reed, perhaps.
There he goes.
Makes the move.
I don't think he's got enough. Nope.
Oh boy, Bill Reed is driving an extraordinary race right now. I mean, Dwayne Davis, the story this guy has in terms of national championships is just nothing short of amazing. He is, as I said, of active drivers, he has more titles than anybody else. In fact, he's second only to the legendary driver from Minnesota with 27 titles with Jerry Hansen, who's been retired for a long time.
These guys got me wondering, where did that sunbeam go? Man, I can't even see it. I'm running myself to death. You guys are beating up on me, and I can't even see the sunbeam. It's gone.
That pass looks like it lit a fire underneath Dwayne Davis, because all of a sudden he's come to life, but now he got the car in front of him, can't go anywhere. Blakewell up on the outside.
Blakewell got by Goffrey and was thinking of even going around Davis, couldn't make that move work, and almost tried to brave it around the outside and inside through 15, and decided to better that, at least at the moment. And now traffic, Dorsey, you just saw that.
I saw it, you saw it, everybody saw it. There's going to be 3 cars, and they're all going to be dicing it up right in the middle of this battle.
Boy, you saw the driver of that Nissan right there, number 60, just pointed him by, but it was on the approach into the S's, or the chicane. That's Tony Giordano, who's trying to let him through. There he goes. Nice job by Tony. And but they still got 2 more to go, but at least they're going to maybe make this move on the straight. Bill Reed got by there. He got through there fairly well. See if Davis and Blakewell able to do anything.
I was going to say, if I was Bill Reed, I would try to stack everybody behind me and not try to make a move on those back markers until I got on the straightaway one to go. But here we go.
Davis got to run. Look at Blakewell. He's at least going to get Davis. Is he going to try for 2? Not quite.
He'd try before the door if he did. That's what he'd be going.
He had a target there, but he is now moved around Dwayne Davis. So second is now Reed. Blakewell is third. Davis has slipped to fourth, and Goffrey is running in fifth. But these 4, even though it's for second, is arguably here the best race we have seen on the day. Some great racing here. And with Reed out in front now, I said earlier that he looked like he might be one of the quicker cars on the track. We'll see if he's able to open it up. But Blakewell has been impressive as well.
Well, Blakewell's running really good. In fact, I'm not too sure he's not the fastest car of that group of 4 right there. And he's thinking he is too.
Well, that car with it's a mid-engine car with, oh, look at here, Goffrey going to try and knife underneath Davis, and he makes it work. Davis is struggling.
Yeah, he must have had big understeer, Tom. He was way out there.
I'm not sure he didn't get kind of lulled to sleep there. You know, there's not really anywhere he could go in front of him because he was close to the cars in front of him, and he might have just left it out a little wide to get a bigger shot off and left the door open and go for his stuff and get in there.
All right, so as Davis has now slipped to fifth, Bill Reed comes under some serious pressure from Jim Blakewell. The manufacturer battle here is afoot.
Introducing the new Chicken Club from Burger King. Delicious all-white meat chicken topped with crispy bacon, fresh lettuce, and tangy tomato. Hey, this is one new club everybody's going to want to join. Burger King. Have it your way.
Ever have that dream where you're driving, introducing the next Celica?
Go! And Blanchard's car is handling great as he takes the lead. Incredible!
The right chassis parts make any car feel high performance. So choose Moog, driving NASCAR champions to victory. Moog chassis parts, another great part of Federal Mogul.
If you ride a motorcycle, please be careful, because accidents do happen. I'm Pat Riley at 1-800-MOTORCYCLE, the motorcycle attorneys. If you've been injured in a motorcycle accident, we can help, even if you don't have a license or insurance. That's right, even if you don't have a license or insurance. Call 1-800-MOTORCYCLE right now. The call's free, the advice is free, and there's no charge to get your case started.
We are back at Mid-Ohio, where Tom Patton just may be on his way finally to that long overdue and well-deserved national championship. 10 laps remaining, but Patton, as you take a look at the top 10, has opened up an immense lead, absolutely huge lead that he has put together, Biz.
He actually is leading so far down the straightaway right now that his crew chief, Bill Owen, looks a little bored in here. The whole weekend has been going very smoothly for you.
It has been. It's been a great week, and we're really looking forward to this year. We feel like we made a mistake last year by letting Joffrey by, and Tom wasn't going to let it happen again this year. We wanted to get out in front, stay there, and let them battle it out for second, third, and fourth.
Now, the guys up in the booth were talking about, like, in the years past, they've seen this car sliding all over the place, but you changed the tire compound.
We went to a softer compound today because it's cooler, and, of course, we got the rains ready, and it does look like we're going to have some weather come in, but I think we'll get the race in before that happens.
Preparation, 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 guys.
Well, it's certainly working for Tom Patton, and that softer compound, Biz, along with the the cool temperatures have obviously really helped that car stick. Here's the battle for second. You can see the margin. It's huge, but Reed is second, Blakewell is third. Now, if you'll notice, Davis has gone back around Goffrey and taken fourth away, pushing Goffrey, the defending champion in this class, back to fifth. And Blakewell, he gets through turn one so fast here, but he just can't do anything with it before he gets into the chicane.
This is the kind of race I expected to see in GT2. You know, short of Patton having a good run out there in front, these guys almost always have a big dice going on like it is right now.
Yeah, this class historically has produced some of the best racing here. Patton somewhat changing that, at least in this race. But Davis now got an awfully strong run off the keyhole. Here he comes, going to take a look at Blakewell. Blakewell goes to the apex there. Davis still coming on. And you would think the Porsche would excel under braking a little bit. That's what they're famous for. And we are on board now with Dwayne Davis. You may have noticed we didn't have some onboards for a little bit. Had to fuel up the plane. The signals bounce off. We're on air for a long time live bringing you this ad.
It looked like the Porsche, Dwayne Davis had a run. There's no question. He had a good draft going. And it looked like the Porsche out top-ended him quite a bit there. Right in the last 100 yards of the straightaway, it looked like the Porsche had some legs.
Just listen to this. We are right in the middle of a great battle here. Let's listen and ride for a minute. Great drive by Davis as he is in pursuit of Blakewell. And if that engine note sounded a little familiar, the engines that they run in GT2 and the Toyotas are very similar to the Formula Atlantic engines that make these cars sing. It's a great sound, isn't it?
They're running upwards of 9,000 revs there, so that's what you're hearing. Look at Blakewell, didn't have a very good run through that corner. Dwayne had a look at him, but because of that, he's paying the penalty down through the keyhole.
Whoa, and he just shut the door on Goffrey big time. Back on board now with Davis. And let's see, that outside line, when he cut down, may have allowed him to get on the throttle a little bit sooner, and Blakewell's worried.
Watch the Porsche, though. This is where it was real strong last lap. See, there it goes again. It's got a big top end on it.
And it dives down inside Reed, but Reed shuts the door.
I think that's just Davis. He's getting out of it, but he's kind of rolling out of it slow down at the other end. He might be running out of gear or something.
Yeah, we're looking backward from Davis now. I'm sorry, Goffrey.
He is, Johnny. I think you're right. I think, he's not on the brake. He's just kind of rolling out of the throttle, and it's really hurting him up there at the top end of the straightaway.
If he's out of gear.
Oh, and something. Did you just hear that big clunk, and he suddenly just lost everything? Just was a big... Oh, and Goffrey spins right in front of him. I was going to say oil, but...
No, Goffrey lost it on his own. Something definitely broke. You heard it. That was a very good observation. I think he got stuck in neutral there. He was in no gear, and you heard it clunking around. He's trying to get a gear. But this Goffrey situation is Mike going to bring out a yellow, I would think.
It very likely could. That was a substantial off by Goffrey, and right in front of Davis from the onboard. Davis had his problem. Goffrey went by him. And, my first thought was maybe that when Davis had his problems, if he deposited something on the track, it got on Goffrey's tires. But that spin happened so far up and past him.
Well, I tell you that it all happened real quick. I don't know yet what happened with...
So we're back on board here with Davis. And he is struggling.
Listen to it, see if he's got a gear missing or something. Now we lost the onboard, but anyway, something happened there. It clunked real bad, got into a neutral position. Let's listen. Well, Tommy sounds okay.
Yeah, I don't quite understand what was going on there. Meanwhile, on board now with the leader, Tom Patton, and there is the look from that convertible Sunbeam Tiger V8. Listen to the difference, sound of the engine with this big 8.
You can see him, that's obviously a manual steering car. He's having to wrestle that wheel. He's shuffling his hands so he can get max leverage on that. That thing looks like a little bit of a beast. Anything that's fast is a manageable beast, but he's having to work.
Boy, you can see some of the feedback right through that steering column as well. We have 13 of 19 laps complete here at Mid-Ohio. We'll be right back.
Hey, boys, I'm lost. I'm looking for Franklin Street exit. I'm going around for an hour. Come on.
Want more power? Try Valvoline SynPower Complete Fuel System Treatment. Cleans your entire fuel system with advanced synthetic technology.
After everything we'd been through financially, we needed a fresh start.
No one would give me credit because my entire credit history was attached to my ex-husband's.
With other companies, I had to put money in a savings account before they'd even give me a credit card.
I didn't know how I was going to build good credit when I couldn't get any credit at all.
With this Visa card, all it took was a quick phone call and I was approved, and the card came within just a few days.
And Providian's the first company that didn't punish us for mistakes we've made in the past.
After I made a few payments, I got even more credit, and it was nice to go into a store without checking to see how much money was in my wallet.
When I called, it wasn't just for an application. After just a few minutes, I had a $1,000 credit line. Me.
Providian treated me with respect, and I didn't have to put money in a savings account. And the fees, no problem.
It feels good to finally get the credit you deserve.
The Visa Classic Card from Providian. Apply right now over the phone and get up to $1,000 in credit. There's no savings deposit required, and you can earn even more credit after just a few payments. Get the credit you deserve and call for your Visa Classic Card now.
Today's coverage of the SCCA Valvoline Runoffs is being brought to you by Valvoline. You can always tell the guys who use Valvoline. It's also being brought to you by Dodge. Do not follow, do not conform. Be different. On board, now we go on board with Tom Patton, your leader. And this great shot here as he is starting to wind through the lower section of the S's through now 7 turns 8. This is a fun one here, 9. And then this next corner, watch this one. Here's the Dodge race reset, 15 of 19 laps now led by Patton. The only lead change was at the start when he got the jump. It goes by Goffrey's damaged car. He's one of the cars off track. Now the number is up to 5 that have had off-course excursions. Here is the battle for second, and guess who's right back in the mix of it? Whatever the problem was with Davis, we're on board with Davis right now in the 0-1 machine. He has closed right back up on the rear bumper of Blakewell, who is still trying to find a way by the very fast Bill Reed. That's the battle right there. 87 Reed in the Toyota, Blakewell in the purple Porsche, sticking the nose in.
Yeah, but nowhere to go with that. Look what's happened now because that Davis gets a run off of this corner onto the front straightaway. He's going to try for turn 1. I think he'll get up next to him.
Watch him under braking, and he does. He's there, but Blakewell braves it around the outside and makes it work.
Well, you said before how good Blakewell was in turn 1. That car's got a lot of grip on the outside there.
Now up into the chicane, and Blakewell, that move on Reed cost him quite a bit of ground at this point. Now he's got to do it all over again.
Yeah, he had to make the decision, do I go or not? And he started to, then he had to nail the brakes or take Reed out. So that gave Davis his opportunity.
All right, now we're going to take a look at the crash here that evolved a little bit earlier. Remember, 4 cars in that battle for second. And watch this one now. There is Goffrey.
Goffrey was loose at the top of the hill, and when you're loose at the top of the hill, the whole world drops out from under you. There was no saving that one.
And he did that right in front of Dwayne Davis, who he had just got by when Davis had a little bit of a problem. And impressively, Davis right back in the picture. But Goffrey, that's a huge blow to the defending national champion in that class.
Wow, look at lap traffic up here in front, Tommy.
This is coming up to that exact same spot. And if you watch when they come up over this rise.
Oh, he hit him.
Oh!
He bumped him and took Blakemore out.
Blakewell looped it. Doesn't look like he got into the wall, but there was obviously some contact. And Blakewell, of course, he was diving underneath that lap traffic. You saw his brake lights flash a couple of times. I wonder if that surprised Davis.
Well, I think Blakewell, you got
going to the pits. He's up for the pits.
Wow, so apparently you can see some damage there to Blakewell's car. He, though, is not going to duck into the pits and will continue on. Davis, though, making his way in. and it has been an eventful race for Davis. There's Don Preston, who is watching with tremendous interest. We'll see just how serious the damage is to the car.
The first hit spun him, but then he hit him when he was spinning in front of him and caved the front down.
All right, let's go down to Sandy.
We couldn't get a good look at the damage. He's already away. It killed when he tried to take off. They had to restart it. His crew is, they're running and scrambling, trying to figure, oh, look at this. I think we know what that is. Looks like maybe, I don't know if that's engine oil, but it's oil.
Well, we're on board, and there's the shot. That's the oil that apparently has been coming out of the car. We were on the onboard with him for a moment, watched him go straight and not make the chicane, and he now has pulled off, and a lot of smoke emanating from the right front corner.
You saw the crew chief there talking on the radio. He's telling him, hey, man, pull that thing over. You got a big oil leak. He saw it on the ground there. That's probably an oil cooler that's busted or a line. So we'll see a replay of this wreck. Watch now. Davis moves up. He's going to contact Blakemore. It's not much of a hit, but it's a real vulnerable part. This is where it hits hard, Tommy.
Right there. Yeah. See what happened? I think Blake was inside that lapped car, and so slowed it down a little more than usual. Davis.
Well, watch for the flash of the brake lights right here from Blakewell's car, and I think that surprised Davis right there.
Well, you got to brake there, though. That's a normal place to brake.
Yeah.
I think there was just a mistake made there.
Well, he let his foot off the brake and started to roll, and then didn't pick up the throttle as quick as Davis was thinking. And Davis could have been glancing over to check the lap car real quick, looked up and saw him checked up even more in front of him.
In the meantime, we got a 240Z parked down there with Goffrey's car. Well, it wasn't there before, and that's someone else's pulled off. There's the man who's just dominating.
It's been pretty serene for Tom Patton, and of course he's watching a lot of his competition even behind him take themselves out of the running. So Tom Patton looking very strong, but Dwayne Davis's day is done, and apparently obviously he is parked, he is out of the car, and now Patton, with all of the action we've been watching, is on his final lap. So Patton up through the S's one last time, and perhaps for him he's about 6 or 7 corners away from the nightmare ending.
Interesting little irony. You've got these brand new race cars Don Preston built. That Tiger is actually an original Tiger car built in 1967. It's not one of the tube frame cars built afterwards with a body. And all these other guys have big contingency plans. What's Tiger's contingency program? What kind of money do they pay for a 67 Tiger?
I think it's congratulations from the family and crew, folks. That's what it's about. As he said, he has relived the moment for the spin from last year for 12 months. That is about to be erased. There is a very happy wife and crew member, Tom Patton, out of the last corner. It's over. He has made amends and won a national championship, one long overdue and one incredibly well-deserved. And look at that. I bet you see that face. It's loaded with nothing but tears. This is a very powerful moment for the Patton family.
Well, the Sunbeam win. Maybe he gets a free toaster. I don't know.
Now, of course, for Dwayne Davis, a second year that has been a little bit problematic for Dwayne Davis, Andy.
It has been problematic for him, and I'm with Ken Fairley, his crew chief. He came in, you waved him on, and then the pool.
When he came in, we didn't see anything there. When he sat still for a while, some oil came out of the oil cooler, and that's the end of it. They won't run without the oil.
What happened there? Who did he tangle with?
I'm not sure. I think the 914 or the 914-6 Porsche. Wait till he gets in and find out for sure.
A tough ending for his day.
That's a lot.
Well, Sandy, it was indeed that 914 Porsche of Jim Blakewell, and I think, Tommy, I think you hit it here. Look at the emotion on the face. Let's go back down to the pits and John Bisniano.
Janet Patton, congratulations. I mean, I don't know anyone more uptight than you are around this happy team, but now it's all released. My God, you are champions where you belong.
Thank you. He deserved this one. He really did.
What about all the great preparation this week? You people came so prepared. You had no problems, no late nights.
No, it was an easy week, a real easy week. And Tom takes so much time with the car that he deserved it. He deserved to win.
I'll tell you guys, it's great being down here. I'm sorry that you're all isolated from this up in the booth.
Well, I know what you mean, Biz. The energy and the emotion down there is pretty good. But hey, we're watching some great racing up here too. And I think the key to that one was the drive that Patton put in. I mean, tire choice and all that, but he drove the car beautifully, didn't abuse it, and it ended up getting him a GT2 national championship.
Are you tired of waiting for monthly car magazines? Don't wait, get Auto Week. Start Auto Week racing to you every week. For a true car lover, once a month is not enough. Don't wait for racing coverage. Auto Week covers it all. NASCAR, kart, Formula One, sports cars, the IRL, and brings it to you first. Behind the scenes as well as on the track, just days after the race. Don't wait for the fastest road tests. Auto Week drives every new car, truck, SUV, and van, and tells you about them first, as only a weekly can. For a true car lover, once a month is not enough. Don't wait for auto shows, trends and insights, personalities, and special features. Call 1-800-445-3800 for 52 weeks of Auto Week at our absolute lowest price, just $19.95. Save over $100 off the cover price. You've thought about it. Stop waiting. Call 1-800-445-3800 now for Auto Week. Don't wait for monthly car magazines. Get Auto Week every week. Once a month is not enough.
This month on Speed Vision, it's live Formula One from Malaysia and Japan, NHRA drag racing from Kansas, the Speed Vision GT and Touring Car Championships from Pikes Peak, the SCCA Runoffs from Mid-Ohio, the U.S. Open of Supercross, live NASCAR qualifying, and Bo Bridge is starring in Silver Dream Racer.
That's Speed Vision, and you got it. So turn on Speed Vision before the 99 season passes you by.
It has been said that in the future, when things we know cease to exist, only one will remain. Toyota Tacoma. Some things simply last.
Welcome back to Mid-Ohio once again, and there is Tom Patton, and he is first to the checkers. And you think he's been waiting for this one? How about this? He was second in 98, he was second in 95, third in 96, third in 93. It's over. They are champions, and incredibly hard-earned and well-deserved. And he gets to stop in and pick up the checkered flag for the lap of honor. And you think he's going to take this lap alone? Not with all that available room in this car. I have a feeling it is going to be packed with personnel when he goes out for his lap of honor. And let's take a look at our unofficial results. Tom Patton finally gets rid of the nightmare and is living the dream with the win. Bill Reed, a great drive to second. Jim Blakewell third. Dick Salem ends up fourth. And Barry Schoenberger, boy, a top five bookend for Team Sunbeam Tiger and the Apprentice, doing a pretty nice job. Let's take a look at the rest of the field. Mishra, Lentz, Beckenbach, Hansen, and Limbert round out the top 10. So let's head back down to Victory Circle, and Sandy was second place.
Well, I'm here now with Bill Reed. What an incredible moment. There was a lot of great racing, elbow to elbow out there today.
There was. It was tight with four cars behind Tom Patton. We couldn't run with him, but we had a good race going behind.
And what were you thinking when you were in some of those tight battles?
Just trying to hold my own. Stay calm and not charge the corners and just try to stay smooth. You know, that's what this track takes. And I'm not a smooth driver, so it takes a lot of concentration to not overdrive the car.
Well, you certainly didn't do that here today. A great finish for you. And I know you're a wine collector. You thinking about something special for tonight?
It's in the trailer.
You hear that, guys? It's in the trailer. I just want to know, am I invited?
Oh, sure. Come on by.
Hey, back to you. I've got something to go do in just a little bit here.
Yeah. All right. See, the pits is not a bad place to be. You get invited to the parties. You get to experience some bubbly. That's all right. And, of course, you get to help celebrate. There is Jim Blakewell, who had himself an interesting drive, a very strong drive as well, as he's about to unbuckle out of the car. And, again, that Porsche was very quick all day, looked very strong under braking. But it was under braking perhaps where a little bit of a problem was created as well. And here it is. He braked going under traffic, and Davis just couldn't get out of it, got into the back of him. And it spelled the end of the day for Davis. And Blakewell had problems as well. We'll be back to meet some more of the players in this one right after this.
I've always been set in my ways. So when Subaru told me they were changing my Outback, I was a tad concerned. Truth is, they just made it better. This next generation Outback's got a stylish new body, quieter ride, and their best all-wheel driving system ever. It sort of inspired me to make a few changes. I think this works. The new Outback, the world's first sport utility wagon from Subaru.
I
This is Laura Patterson. She's saving a bundle on long-distance calls to Grandma using MCI 5 cents every day.
When Laura was born, I counted on Mom to talk me through everything.
She'd call 2-3 times a day. How do I do this? How do I do that?
Mom was always calling me.
It was like we rediscovered each other. Then we got the phone bills. No college tuition for you. Now we use MCI 5 cents every day. It's brand new. Calls are just 5 cents a minute every evening and 5 cents a minute all weekend long. That's half the price of AT&T.
And that's good.
And you can get daytime calls the rest of the week for just 10 cents a minute.
Now we can call each other any day of the week without worrying about the cost. Whether it's just to shoot the breeze or for the really important stuff.
It's Grandma. Hi there.
MCI 5 cents every day. To sign up, call 1-800-456-1559.
Say hi, Grandma.
Ask about our great international rates, too.
Speed Vision presents the SCCA Valvoline Runoffs. 3 days of the best amateurs driving some of the fastest machines ever to pound the pavement. The SCCA Valvoline Runoffs tomorrow at 1:30 p.m. Eastern.
We are back, and as we said, you knew that the victory lap, the celebratory lap here, was going to have a lot of people jammed into that little Sunbeam Tiger. A very emotional moment for crew and driver alike, and they were not about to not celebrate it with a ride around the track. And again, just an absolutely great day for everybody. Let's go down to Sandy with our winner.
I'm with the winner now, Tom Patton. Oh, this has got to be an incredible moment for you, especially in light of what happened last year, that spin out, getting high-centered on the curb. And now you've got the checkered flag.
Yeah, I can't put it. I just they quit giving me the laps at the end, and probably because they know I'd drive off the course someplace. But I just was pedaling as hard as I could. I saw those guys battling back there, and I knew if anybody got cleared, they were going to come after me. So I just ran as hard as I could, and it's the best car I brought to the runoffs. I can't thank enough people. Goodyear Racing Tires supported me the past 20 years, and of course, Ellison Engine Service. That Ellison engine was running real good down the straightaways today. Bill Brosick, his father passed away earlier this week, and he was here to give me support, but he sets my chassis up. And
just a big congratulations to the whole team. Now, speaking of
one for her, one would be here. So,
but speaking of your driving off the course, just trying to hold it together, did you change your driving style? Some of these laps were they were smooth.
Well, it just. I think someone's after me the whole time. If I back off, I'll just drive right off. And so I just got to just keep at the same pace. And the car is very comfortable, and it just ran great today. I was very proud of it, and my crew did a great job getting me ready. And I'm just, I can't believe how excited it's so my 15th runoffs, my 20th year racing this car, and it finished out the Millennium here. So it's great. I'm really excited.
Well, that's Tom Patton, the winner today, 2 decades with this car, and now it's paid off. Hey, Biz.
Jim Blakewell, congratulations. A little damage there on the right side of this beautiful purple Porsche. Dwayne Davis and you got together a little bit. What was that about?
Well, we were racing real close until this wreck, and I got touched by a lap car. I was trying to get around, and it got knocked sideways, and then he T-boned me. So
looked like were having more fun out there than anyone else. What a great battle for second place.
It was fun to race wheel to wheel like that. I enjoy that a lot.
Well, he's also enjoyed the victory circle guy. I'll tell you, I've done 7 races today, and no one got more kisses than this gentleman. I'll tell you, he's having a good time down here.
Wow, kisses, another one, that's 8, and there's the bronze medal as well. So great run by Jim Blakewell to be able to come through and win a medal here, but Tom Patton has ended the Millennium, as he said, in fine style.
Better be good, Captain. Lettuce field in California taken yesterday afternoon. And this morning, Florida, tomato field taken yesterday. And today, now we're tracking a bacon train.
Sir, this is live.
Chicken truck convoy. I better tell Washington.
Tell everybody.
The new Chicken Club from Burger King is here with juicy all-white meat chicken, crispy bacon, lettuce, and tomato. Burger King. Have it your way.
Log on to speedvision.com and get the fastest, most up-to-date information in news, events, original programming, and lifestyles of speed.
Last race, right?
Yeah. Today's coverage of the 1999 SCCA Valvoline Runoffs is being brought to you by Valvoline. You can always tell the guys who use Valvoline. It's also being brought to you by Toyota. Get the most out of your day, every day. Beautiful fall colors and some great racing is what greets you every year when you come to Mid-Ohio in October for the SCCA's Valvoline Runoffs. And we have certainly seen some of the great racing with that. Let's go back down to John Bizignano. Biz?
Well, April Jacques, who is one of the 2 females in GT2, who just finished a race. This is your first runoff, April?
Second runoffs.
And you had a great run, didn't you? You told me that you were having more fun out there than you've ever had before.
Definitely. It was the best race I've ever drove. I drove harder than I ever have. Even made my fastest lap.
Well, congratulations on that, but a little bit of mechanical problems towards the end.
Yeah, we believe we blew a head gasket, and I had problems with the MSD box. I had to switch over. We're not really sure what happened, but really killed a lot of my horsepower.
April, I've got to ask you. I mean, you look like you weigh about 100 pounds. GT2 is a real performance class. Isn't it tough to actually just drive one of these heavy machines out there?
Well, I started in GT2. I love it. I couldn't even imagine going to anything else, and it's a lot easier than you think.
And what are you going to be trying for next year?
Trying to come back again next year and see if I can get up in the pack even further.
Well, congratulations on a great day on your second runoffs.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, she's a pretty remarkable story. She got her competition license at age 16 years and 1 day, and as a matter of fact, she, for a brief moment, held a national competition license before she even turned 17. Her first year was a pretty eventful one, and a great story, and another runoffs for her. Just a great job for April Jacques. Great story there. Now, again, we talked about the number of races here. We had a third one this morning that ran before we could get live on the air and bring the coverage to you. It's F Production. Let's take a quick look at how that turned out. The third national championship to be decided today was F Production, and that was Joe Huffaker, who led from the pre-grid. He was on pole and frankly led right through the entirety of the race, ended up winning by a comfortable margin. If the name sounds familiar, he's the builder and owner of Chris Neville's Trans Am car. Joe Huffaker has been very, very busy of his late, and now he's a champion.
Joe Huffaker, congratulations on your 4th national championship.
Isn't it great? What would you rather be doing than this on any given Friday?
You almost made it look boring out there.
Oh, no, not at all. These guys are competitors. They're all, the guys that are behind me here were our top national finishers and champions. And I got to thank my crew, Charlie Pollard and Frank Hanrahan. Man, it's been wonderful. This has been great. 4 times.
Well, congratulations again, Joe. That was about a 12-second lead, which is huge in the Valvoline National Championships.
Now, John, you're absolutely right. A huge margin of victory. And how do you celebrate? You rough up the crew a little bit. Let them attack you, have some fun. They earned it. A great day and a great weekend for Joe Huffaker. And with that, we will be right back with more from Mid-Ohio.
Brand new at the Home Depot. The Rigid RoboGrip 2.
After selling 12 million of the world's first self-adjusting one-handed pliers, RoboGrip just got better. Rigid introduces the new 10-inch RoboGrip 2.
Now it's bigger,
Stronger.
faster, and easier
Than ever before.
Oh, yeah. The grip's very comfortable. It doesn't slip.
I think I can go home and get rid of several different tools.
Call now and have the Rigid RoboGrip 2 pliers sent direct to you from the Home Depot for only $24.97 plus shipping. RoboGrip 2 pliers, 3 ways better than ever before.
Now, with larger jaw capacity.
RoboGrip 2 opens to a full 1 3/4 inches. Perfect for those big jobs like sink traps and other large connections.
Yeah, those things won't break.
Feels very strong.
RoboGrip 2 generates 250% more torque for more gripping power where you need it most.
The way this is designed, it gives you a lot more torque.
Definitely a lot more power coming from my hand.
These definitely make my job a lot quicker.
The hardened steel jaws automatically adjust to fit whatever you're working on. Just squeeze the handles.
Keep thinking I've got to stop and adjust it.
Try this with regular pliers.
That's not going to work.
See how these work.
It's not slipping out of my hand.
You can go from the little to the large, and it just automatically adjusts to the correct size.
RoboGrip 2.
Easier to use than other heavy-duty pliers. My hands are smaller than a typical man's. I can handle it all one-handed. Oh, that's very nice.
Robo technology makes working on anything a breeze. Nuts and bolts, pipes and plumbing fixtures, knobs, valves, hanging hardware, and every kind of shape you can imagine.
I can use it for bikes.
Welcome back to Mid-Ohio for our coverage of the 1999 Valvoline Runoffs. I'm Greg Creamer along with Dorsey Schrader, Tommy Kendall, John Visignano, and Sandy Hang, bringing you the coverage here of the first of 3 days of action. We're going to bring you up to date if you were just joining us. In Touring 1, Jeff Altenberg won over Steve Valenti. It was Corvette, Porsche, and Scotty White and another vet, Tom Lyons, and Bill Dieters. Then in Formula 500, Jeff Auberger wins it after problems last year. Mike Brent, Dave Mitch, Evelyn Coulard, and Ron Vincey. In the F production, Joe Huffaker, great drive. Harold Flesher, Craig Chima, Dieter Greisinger, and Dick Davis round out the top 5. In Showroom Stock C, Neil Sapp beat John Phillips, Kevin Adams, John Schmidt, and the drive of the day maybe by Ken Payson, although he ended up 5th. He went to the lead from 9th in the rain. Bruce Sunseri had a great pass of Latrell Harms with a lap to go to take the win. Al Beasley Jr. 3rd. Jason Miller gets a finish in 4th. A good run there. In Formula Atlantic, it was Brian French from the get-go. Pole sitter Larry Connor 2nd. Great drive by the youngster Chamal Yelkin. Chris Kaiser was 4th. And in GT2, the race that's just unfolded, Tom Patton, Bill Reed, Jim Blakewell, Dick Salem, and Barry Schoenberger rounded out the top 5 in the 7th of the National Championship races. Let's go down to Sandy.
Well, this driver has quite a story to tell. He was the fastest lap here in June, but you didn't finish first. You got a score to settle. Tell us about what happened.
Well, we had a mishap on the qualifying lap. We lost our engine, so we didn't get to qualify. Had to work up all the way from the back of the pack, and we were trying to get around Cliff and ended up and went off the end of the track. So we're going to try and make up for it today.
That's Cliff as in Cliff Johnson. Those two were duking it out last June, and, you know, they want to settle that score here right now. Hey, Biz.
Chris Nunes, he is on the pole position. He's defending champion here, and I just got done talking to him. And he said that every time they were on the track, it was different weather conditions. They had to use a different setup. Now, right now, they have been on the track in cold, somewhat conditions like we have right now, but it's a bit of a dice roll, guys. Every time they were on the track for practice and qualifying, they had a different setup on the car. They're going with what they think's best for the current conditions.
All right, and Biz, interestingly, his first qualifying session was his fastest lap. Look at that. There's the Keith Nunes fan club. Ohio welcomes him, and why not? The guy is absolutely awesome to watch drive. But in Tuesday, the first time they went out and qualified was when Nunes set his best lap. It held for pole through the next 2 days of qualifying, and you can see he carries the #1 on that car as a defending national champion. Sandy?
Yes, and something else that we need to keep a watch on right now is that the dark clouds are moving in, and it is threatening to rain at any moment. So this could be a factor in the race right now.
Well, again, folks, if you're just joining us, we've seen that all day today, sort of on and off. A little bit of rain, and it'll dry up. And when it has rained, it's made things very interesting. And we've seen some great drives, and then it'll dry up, and other people come to the fore. It's been wonderful. Here is our starting lineup. Again, Keith Nunes, the defending champion on pole. John LaRue, who was pole sitter last year, is second. Parsons, Chris Winkler, he had that huge crash a couple years ago here. Jason Byers, Tom Schweitz, a multiple champion in a lot of different cars, this and Formula Continental. Brandon Dixon, Stan Towns, Mark Jaremko running the Lone Store in this class, and the rest of the field, as you take a look at it, a very strong field. 36 drivers are going to be taking the start here for this 19-lap national championship race. And at the front, Keith Nunes, and there's another guy in there who is also driving a similar type of car to Keith, Brandon Dixon. What they've done is they have taken some a Formula Continental Swift, changed it to Formula Ford. It seems to be working. Now, there's a good look at Keith Nunes. We're looking now at the three drivers that everybody seems to think will be factors. Nunes and John LaRue, both very fast. In fact, that is your front row. You'd suspect them to be among the choices here. And Cliff Johnson, of course, the driver that John LaRue was talking about. And Cliff is back in 41st, or excuse me, he runs number 41. He's back in 13th. So he's got some concerns. There's another driver in the field whose experience in the racing arena goes far beyond just the driving. And a little earlier, Dorsey Schrader checked in.
Michael Koltoff competes in the highly competitive, somewhat expensive Formula Ford class, and he's found a unique way to help defray the cost. He actually paints his competitors' helmets. Now, Michael, how'd you get started in all this?
Well, Dorsey, my hobby is racing art. I like to do paintings of the Andrettis, the famous drivers. The problem is I get attached to them hanging on my wall, and I can't sell them. So I taught myself how to airbrush, paint a few helmets, a few national champion helmets, and it adds some money to the racing budget to go faster.
Well, when you buy a new helmet, it comes in generic white. And to get a paint job like this put on it, what's it cost? Well, you're looking at between $300 and $400. Let me tell you one thing about racing. Every little bit helps.
Every little bit helps, and Tommy, you've already alluded to the fact that one of the most important things is to look like you're a race driver, and that means a neat helmet. There's my Colt off warming the tires up.
Prerequisite in open wheel racing. When I started out in open wheel racing, you've got to have the gear, from the shoes all the way up the helmet being the most important part.
Well, let's take a look at some of the onboards or the in-cars we're going to be enjoying here. There is a good look there, and you can see going lock to lock, trying to get some heat in those tires. That's 84 Steve Ford. Now, he's a double Formula Atlantic champion, but he has decided, as we saw earlier in the show, to run Formula Fords because of the intense competition.
Did you see the side of the car bulging out? In the interview, you can see Steve Ford is a big guy, and that Swift is not a very big car. And so as he's turning, his shoulder is up against the bodywork, and it's actually bulging the car out as his body shifts over with the lateral G's. Watch this right there. Bang.
Well, that's exactly it. I mean, that's got to be a comfort factor as well. You get into a heated battle and you're feeling all that pressure from the side of the car.
He's made a big sacrifice. That steering wheel is not a normal type steering wheel. It's a little. Look at that. He runs with his hands way up on the top just so he has enough room. I can relate to that. Being a big guy, when I drove the Ferrari 333 this year, just to get in the thing to steer it, it's not optional. It's not like you get in and say, I'm going to make myself perfectly comfortable. That's not an option. You just need to get in and make it so you can kind of work the controls.
You need to just sort of deal with the problem, I think.
Of course, if a guy wants to pass him, all he's got to do is throw his elbows out. It's not going to leave much room.
Hip check them as they come by. You can see, boy, the field here, more than any other class we've seen today, really scrubbing tires, trying to get heat into these tires.
It's really cold outside right now, Greg. I was out there a second ago, and it's much colder than you think. The cloud cover is pretty intense. Looks like it could rain. I saw a lot of guys on sticker tires, and those guys are really going to have to work hard because this kind of a class, you can't give up anything. This is a barn burner of a race here.
That explains the silence when I threw it to you just a little while ago.
Oh, well, I was
otherwise indisposed.
Yeah, I was gone.
Back on board with Steve Ford. And Steve, although he's very quick, of course, with 2 Atlantic championships, he's found the adjustment to these cars to be a little bit intricate. He's back in 15th on the grid here, and he's going to have his work cut out for him as the field working their way through the chicane. And John LaRue has him lined up. Sandy.
Well, the teams are expecting rain. If you look up and down pit road, everyone has tires. So there's a possibility we may see some people come in and try to take on some tires if we do get a heavy downpour.
Boy, that's going to be interesting because you end up watching all your other competitors, I would think, see if they make a move down into the pits. I mean, if you stop and nobody else does and it dries up, you're in a world of hurt. Keith Nunes has them lined up. John LaRue alongside. A Swift and a Citation. There's the look from 15th on the grid from Steve Ford. And we have them at speed. We have agreed. And it looks as though Nunes held on. Here comes John LaRue, though. Nunes goes well wide. LaRue dives to the inside. Looks like LaRue has made the pass. Now we'll see, though, whether Nunes is able to get back around on the outside. Can't do it. And John LaRue leads it. And it looked like Nunes left that wide open.
Boy, there's a good look. Tommy, look at how that mess going on there. You touch wheels with one of these cars, you're going to get a big vault. So these guys are really dicing it up here. First lap action.
There's the shift by Ford as you watched him, but his hands on the wheel, I mean, it's like he's holding a doorknob, not a steering wheel. It's so
Talk about the 9 and 3 steering position. He has his 11:30 and 12:30.
It's unbelievable, so close, and he is already, of course, as we're early into this one, a serious race up front. There's LaRue, there's Nunes, and I think that might be Winkler, who has moved up smartly and maybe running third right now. Just can't quite get the numbers off the cars as they cycle through that last corner, but it's definitely John LaRue, your early leader. Then it is Nunes. It is Winkler, who has jumped third. Fourth now with 72. Tom Schweitz up from 6th. So a couple of guys getting some pretty good jumps on the field.
Now this is other than the guy in front, everybody has a battle on 2 fronts. The cars are so close together, you can't get too preoccupied with trying to pass the guy in front. You leave an opening. We've seen it a few times today. Here it's just magnified all the way through the field. You've got to try to attack the guy in front without leaving yourself open to the guy behind.
uncharacteristically clean for a start. Now, one thing about these cars, they don't have a lot of power, and drafting does play an important factor. All these guys in the lead draft right here, you really get a tell about fourth place back there.
Well, that's a good point. They don't have a lot of power, nor do they have. There we go. You just called it. That should be 72 Schweitz, who's taking a look at Winkler for third. Winkler locking up and almost got into the back of Nunes, but I think Schweitz saw that plume of smoke and went, "This is not good," and backed off a little bit. But you were talking, Dorsey, about the lack of power. Also, they don't have a lot of wing at all on these cars. It's all just the body shape, so you aren't so dependent on the aerodynamic downforce, so you can draft.
Well, not do they only have not a lot of wing, they don't have any wing. There's not anything there at all. They are slippery to drive. They're a little bit slippery in the corners. They don't have really big tires, and they get a big tail at the top end because they're so narrow body-wise.
That yellow car back there in fifth is Todd Bardwell, who's having a very strong run and coming up as well. But Nunes now really starting to hustle the car and chase LaRue, apply a lot of pressure. But as you said, Tommy, every time he looks in his mirrors, there's Winkler.
Yeah, it doesn't, and you have to manage that. That's the kind of thing you can say, well, I'm just going to focus on the guy in front, but you have to kind of plan and maybe do a little bit defensive. Maybe, I hate to say that, I would never consider to do a little short break on the guy behind you as far as a way to give yourself some breathing room to maybe plan a pass on the guy in front.
It's like a big chess game, really. Like Tommy said, you can't. Here's a pass getting looked at right there. You don't want to make a pass if there's nowhere to go. Hits the curve. That's a good way to get in big trouble when you're wheel to wheel.
Well, that was interesting because Winkler decided to try to go inside LaRue into the chicane, and LaRue said, "Fine, but you're going to have to do it around the outside of me through most of the chicane." And Winkler just couldn't quite pull it off, but certainly shows that he's willing to give it a go. Here's 13th place now, Steve Forer, who has moved up a couple spots.
A lot of understeers see him working the wheel. They're trying to get the thing to bite down. He's trying to put his right side wheels inside the concrete patch, and he's working the wheel to keep pulling the front end and tucking it back toward the A-coat.
He is, in fact, chasing Mike Koltoff, who you talked to earlier in the show, Dorsey, the helmet painter.
Yellow flag up there.
Whoa, there's dust and stuff everywhere. Somebody has gone off, it looks like, or at least dropped the tire severely.
I saw the yellow light flashing as they went down in the brake zone. There's going to be another one right there. Somebody was headed off the road in the back there.
You know, it is so cramped for Steve Forer in that cockpit. Did you notice that when the car started to slide on him, he took his right hand off of the wheel so he'd have room to jockey the wheel back and forth without banging his elbows on the cockpit. It's that snug for Steve in these cars. And we're not talking he's a big guy in terms of weight. We're talking height. He's just husky.
He's got some shoulders on him. He's a slim guy, but he's got some broad shoulders, and it's quite tall.
You know, you can't say how small these cars inside. You see most of these guys wear knee pads and elbow pads because they get beaten, pummeled to death. A big guy to get in a small car like this, as you know, Tom, not an easy feat at all.
Yeah, the Swift also kind of started the generation of very, very narrow cars. It really kind of revamped the whole Formula Ford formula. What was that, 15 years ago or something almost? And so now all the cars are like that. They used to be a little roomy. The Swift in particular, the steering rack, I think, is right on the guy's shins.
Good battle behind that lead group. You see there's Schweitz. He's the fourth place car, the white car kind of by himself, but then it's Bardwell. Actually, Byers now and Bardwell have swapped positions, but LaRue continues to lead it. Interestingly, you were talking about, you know, the 15 years ago with the Formula Fords. R.K. Smith came out the first year they made that Swift DB1, won the national championship with it, and the car has been essentially unchanged since, and it's still competitive.
I noticed they're calling it a DB6. I'm not really sure what the difference between a DB1 and a DB6 is. They look maybe some subtle refinements, but virtually the same car.
That was Jason Byers, by the way, the black car going around Bardwell and picking up the top five. The difference is actually the DB6 is a Formula Continental Swift that they have converted into a Formula Ford. It's a little longer wheelbase. They think it handles a little bit better, and Nunes won with it last year.
Notice the top three guys, they've got it all in line now. They're starting to tidy it up, and they're going to work a three-car draft. They're trying to get away. That's Steve Forer, and he's not in the pack anymore, so something's happened to Steve Forer, because, of course, last time we saw him, he was right in the middle of a skirmish. Now he's all alone.
Now, here's why he's suddenly a lot further back than he was, and take a look at this one.
Well, that's going up into madness up over the top of the hill right there. Car gets very loose. He's going to bump. It looks like, oh, no, he had to get up. He had to check up, and he got bumped from behind.
He had to check it up because there's a car stopped on the outside.
There's dead stick. And look at him as he had no option. He locked it up to try and avoid getting into them, and that has parked him a lot further back in the pack. A lot more Formula Ford racing yet to come.
When you're flying around a track at 180 miles per hour, danger is always right there beside you. In every race, every turn, every lap. Now, I'm not superhuman, but I've never been afraid. Because deep inside, there's something greater than fear driving me. And that's my personal relationship with God. A relationship that turned my life around. And now there's a remarkable free book that can help do the same for you. It's called Power for Living. It's a simple, compelling guide to everyday life that provides genuine answers to life's everyday problems. Through my victories and defeats, the message of Power for Living always keeps me and my family right on track.
For your free copy of Power for Living, call toll-free 1-800-482-2000. There's no obligation.
Let Power for Living work for you.
The Lost Drive-In brings you two gracious competitors.
I'm a guys like him make me sick.
With the same goal.
The great Godspeed.
You'll love both endings of Silver Dream Racer this Saturday at 11 p.m. Eastern.
Drive? How to say, hey, that's a foul in Japanese. Do you know where in the heavens to find a human voice? Where in your soul to find character? 1, 2, 3, 1. Do you know the shortest distance to a college degree is a straight line called discipline? Do you know how to walk it? Be all you can be.
5 of 19 laps run in our Formula Ford National Championship race here at Mid-Ohio for the Runoffs. There is your top 10, and there was one change right after that graphic came up. Well, now he corrected it. Winkler has gone around Nunes and taken away that second spot, and Chris Winkler has very quickly closed up on the leader, John LaRue. Now, if you were watching a couple of years ago, you saw Chris Winkler in this Formula Ford class right on the last couple of laps of a race have a big tumble into the tires as he was going for the lead, and he really would like some sweet revenge on this one. He is chasing LaRue. Nunes dropping off a little bit. Take a look at our Dodge race reset. The leader has been John LaRue. One lead change, and again, it came at the start when he got by Nunes, and that's been it. Only one car off track at this point, and it has been, at this point, a battle between these three as they have drawn away just a little bit from the rest of the pack. That now is Jason Byers, Tom Schweitz, and the gang, and there you can see Byers, in fact, has shaken Schweitz, and he now is closing in, and we may have a four-car battle for the lead here. And because these lead three now are starting to race each other a little bit, Byers is closing in.
Well, Byers needs those guys to do what they're doing right there, get side by side, so he can get a little drafting help and get pulled back up there. If these guys tidy it up like they were doing, they're going to run awful fast down that straightaway, and he's not going to be anywhere but lonely for it.
And look at Winkler. He tries to go wide in and then come out. Whoops, number 26 having a problem and has parked off. Richard Barger in the BCR Motorsports Swift. He's out of Cincinnati, Ohio. And I don't know whether he just looped it and is going to be able to continue or whether he's done for the day. But look at this. As I said, 26, Jason Byers, who qualified 5th, is closing in smartly. And John Bizignano, John LaRue, is feeling some serious pressure.
Well, he's feeling pressure, and he's actually feeling a very soft tire. He is one of the very few people using the Goodyear 120, which is a softer compound. Looking at the tires on the grid, almost everyone else, especially the people he's racing with right now, are on a harder 160. And as the temperature goes down, which it's doing down here by the minute, he's going to be really happy that he's on the softer compound 120s.
Looks though he's just going to have to survive for a little bit and keep those tires underneath him, because generally, isn't it true, guys, the softer compound is easier for you to race the effectiveness right out of it if you're not driving smart.
Yeah, I mean, usually that's how it works. There's also things that come into play. A hard tire, if it's not gripping the pavement well, can actually slide and generate more heat than a soft tire. So there's no absolutes, but conventional wisdom is a soft tire, if it's out of its range, it's going to go away. But it could well be cool enough and gripping the concrete, not actually sliding as much, and maybe running cooler.
And this is something that we haven't seen, honestly, in the past few years in SCCA competition in Formula Fords, is different chassis. Generally, as I said, it's been Van Diemen has ruled for a while, Swift has ruled for a while. As we take a look at another great battle a little bit deeper in the pack, this one, the battle for 8th right now, and it's a strong one as well. Brandon Dixon in the Valvoline Swift having a strong run. And then number 41, Cliff Johnson. Remember the little story on the grid about the battle he had with John LaRue. He's buried a little bit further back in the pack right now, struggling to come up through the rest of the field. And look at this, it's LaRue now. While Winkler was trying to set his sights on LaRue, Nunes is now starting to take a run at Winkler. As I was going to say, the lead 3 cars, 3 different chassis, and that is great to see in the Formula 4 division.
Pretty disciplined drivers right there, too. Everybody giving each other just enough room when a pass is inevitable. Instead of going wheel to wheel through the middle of the corner, they just go ahead and check up and get back in line right away, which is a smart way to race.
But that gave LaRue an immediate 3-gap lead, and it allowed Byers to close in by about that same margin. And Byers is very close to making this, as I said, a 4-car battle here. And right now, LaRue would love to see Nunes take another run at Winkler here and see if he can't break that draft. Onto the front straight once again. LaRue draws away, and Keith Nunes, Sandy, he suddenly seems to have turned it up a bit.
Well, Keith is doing very, very well. Do you think he's got it to get around those other 2 cars? I'm with his crew chief, Neil Porter.
Well, even as cold as it is, tire wear is a factor. So we're not even halfway through the race. So he still has a good chance.
Now, has Keith been talking to you on the radio? And if so, what is he telling you?
He's not talking a whole lot. I asked him if the car was handling well, and he said yes. So we've had some problems this